Voice. All right. Can you guys
All
hear
right,
us?
should I try this again?
One sec. Let's make sure we
F5.
actually got audio first before you give your intro.
It'll be funnier the second time.
Okay, now you're live. And then watch now. And
Can they hear us?
hey. Yep, they can hear us. Everything's good. Thanks,
Okay.
King. You're the
Thanks,
best.
Kang.
All right, Lance, you want to go ahead and kick us off then?
Yeah, okay. Hi, welcome to the Lance and Ray podcast starring me and also Ray.
The talent.
The talent. That's right. I'm the
Oh
talent.
my god.
Ray's the person who couldn't figure out how audio works.
It's my
We
fault,
each have our
dude.
strengths. Joining us tonight, we have three special guests. We have current Jazzy champion Exodus Third, previous Jazzy champion Dr. Steelhammer, and previous TFC 2017 champion Nika KO. Because if you're the highest placing American, you are the champion. That's
This
my
is
rules.
true. Yeah.
RX Slayer. Okay, so
Double
welcome.
perfect.
That's
Double
right.
perfect. Yeah.
Tonight we're going to discuss the Jazzy circuit. It was just announced, or details were just announced. And I think we're also going to talk about the French tournament, right? Is it
TS-
TVS or
TSB.
TSB.
TSB? Okay.
Third
Cool.
strike battle. Third street
Yep.
battle.
Third strike battle. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and pull open and share my screen so we can take a look at this format. And we're all just going to kind of talk with, yeah, that's the plan.
At the same time.
Yeah.
How exciting.
Yeah. Free for all. Battle Royal. All right. So how's the stream look, boys? You can see the webpage and us still, right?
Um, yeah,
Cool.
should be able to. Yeah, they do.
Cool. So let's kind of talk about the biggest changes to this year's Jazzy, right? The two biggest changes is they're going to be doing online this year, right? Not only are they going to do an online, like essentially ranking battle system, there's going to be two spots for that. So that's actually going to take the place of the next change, whereas before you had three pools with two people coming out of those pools, so a total of 6 people at last chance qualifier. This year there's only going to be 4, which is fucking brutal to be honest with you. And then 2 of the other ones are going to be online events or online qualifiers. So it's going to be entire circuits dedicated to online points. That's going to be hosted by various online personalities. I guess like Stupid Fighters, I think, is hosting some. Riz one, and I'm not sure the other one. I think Southeast Throwdown maybe. Could be wrong there. Check me if I am incorrect. So they're going to be running basically an online tournament series for that. And then the top 2 for points champions from there will qualify out. So let's start with Dan. Dan, kind of lead us off on here. What do you think of the changes to the season thus far?
The first thing I always look at is the auto qualifiers. We've been doing this now for 5 years.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of changes in terms of who gets to be an auto qualifier. And I actually like this breakdown the most because they're all local arcades.
Mhm.
Like Barcode, Gaming Zone, Arcade UFO, Logan, and Brooklyn Games and Arcade. I was a little disappointed that it's not Next Level, but I guess since I've left New York, Next Level has been kind of taken over in terms of Third Strike by Brooklyn Games and Arcade. I've never actually played there, but these
That's
are
true.
all kind of local grassroots movement type venues. In the past, initially I liked when they were tacked on to the bigger majors. Like I always wanted Combo Breaker to be one. I liked Frosty. I liked, when I think CEO was even one back in the early days. But I like this because it's Third Strike, and the idea that the game that we're playing is the primary focus, I think, is the best version. If we're just a side tournament, if it's like the Street Fighter Sixes on the background, and it's like that's not great to me. And the fact that these are all little local spots is probably the best of the auto qualifiers that I've seen.
Yeah, to piggyback off that too as well. Like you're still like they're still gonna have those major events, right? Like Frosty is a Jazzy ranking battle event, and
Okay.
that's gonna have a shit ton of players. So like you got to think maybe having 80 to 100 players, even though it's not an auto qualifier. If you win one of those major tournaments, like let's say a Frosty, you're gonna have a shitload of points. Like I think what is it, 80 points for or 800 points for MSF grade, which is like 80 competitors. Scroll down some, Lance.
Roll down? Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
You want to see the
So,
points?
yeah, see the point system. So if you get 48 people on arcade hardware and you get first place, that's 800 points.
Yeah, Frosty will get that easily.
Yeah, so that's massive, right? So Good.
And they've kept the split between arcade and console, I see. Is that accurate? Like it's less points if it's on console?
Is that what's? Let's see if I can click into it. You see that?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. It looks like
So
arcade slash port. So just I don't know what port means. Is that Sorry,
I guess
I
like
did not
PS4.
PS4 I guess or 30th or
Whatever the non-arcade version is.
okay.
Can
Cool.
can the young players play on OE or is that cool?
It won't help you, Ray.
Oh my
There's
God.
not enough damage output in things to help you.
Oh, every shoulder is the exact same damage. So
Yeah. Unfortunate. So Kang, what do you think?
I think it's a pretty brutal change, but if change has to take place, I mean, why not? I'm specifically referring to the 4 slots at the last chance qualifier. I feel like the majority of people, if you know, and this is more so for out of towners, but if they, let's say, we're traveling and it's not cheap, and setting time aside for a tournament is also hard if you're, working or have other engagements. So a lot of people are going to collapse at towards the finale, and now they're going to be competing for 2 less spots than previous. So it's going to be a battle royale for sure. Other than that, I feel like everything else is pretty good. I like the inclusion of online. I think I said that in the podcast episode. But yeah, I'm excited to see everybody kind of talk about Jazzy again and get ready and amped up. And as the season rolls through, it's going to be pretty exciting.
Yeah, I mean, how do you feel about 2 spots for online? Do you feel like it should be 2 spots
Oh.
or one?
So I was not expecting it to be. I thought it was just gonna be stupid strikes. So if it's 2 spots for 2 different organizations that are hosting online tournaments, I feel like that might be a little too much. Like I would have probably preferred one culminating online event for an online auto qualifier, if you will, and then the other spot would be for the points accruement. But yeah. I mean, it's certainly not a bad thing. It's just a little surprising.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think like with last chance qualifiers. Like for me to get out of my pool last year, I had to beat Yi and Niabon. Like if I wanted a chance to like make it out of that, that's the 2 players I had to beat. It's insane. So, and
did you
then
beat them?
oh God, no, not even close. I
I don't
lost.
remember. Were you in top 16 last year, right?
I lost to Yi and Durlas. So good losses. So, um, but I mean, now you're gonna make that smaller, right? So now like imagine like Frankie's in that pool along with me, or who else qualified out? Kang, you came out of fucking last chance
Yeah.
qualifiers. So.
Well, what happened the last few years is when you looked at the last chance, you could kind of guess, like, he's definitely getting out. There's
Yeah.
6 slots. Like, that guy's so strong. But with 4, there's going to be a bunch of people who probably should be in top 16 and can't make it
But
in.
can't,
There's just
yeah.
not that many spots there.
Yeah.
That might be a perk I'm thinking. Okay, so in theory, right? Here's how I imagine this was supposed to work. It was always supposed to work. Is that you're supposed to go win an auto qualifier, and that's supposed to be hard. And then you incentivize people to show up to their monthlies and place locally, right? That's for the points. But the last chance is called like the last chance, right? It's supposed to be your last chance to get in. What it's been the last couple of years is every good player is like, I'll just qualify at the end. They kind of just take the year off.
Yeah. Both Kang and Issei won out of last chance.
Yep. Yes. Yeah. So like last year, what was it? It was like Kang, Frankie, Yi, I think like Mommy, Neomon, which Neomon's understandable, right? Live in a different continent.
Yeah.
But yeah, like all 6 of those slots are like, who's gonna, it's very hard to come out of pools when all those people are in there. So now there's 4, right? So now you got to check your incentives. Like, do you feel as confident as a top player? Like, oh, I'm gonna go get one of the last 4 spots, or maybe you're gonna actually go try to win an auto qualifier.
Yeah.
I love that points are back and they're doing the yearly circuit again. I know with COVID they had to just go to the auto qualifiers, but I feel like if you're a newer player and you want to try to sneak into the Jazzy finale, the best way to do it is to just earn points. Just hopefully you live in an area where there's a local, play that every month and get on a couple airplanes and get on, you know, get in an Uber or two and go across the country. And, that's what I did season one. That's what Resolve did last year. It's the Urian method. We're not here to win. We're here to accumulate a bunch of fourth places, and then they have to let us in because those are the rules.
I think that's my strat for this year for sure. Definitely.
Yeah, Nico, what are your thoughts so far?
So looking at it from like just that face value, it does look like it's something where the changes that were made, like in terms of the online play, in terms of the online qualifiers, it kind of seems like it's there because from what I remember, was Riz located in California? Was it?
I think
I
so.
believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like it has a nice little way of like, catering more to each coast in that sense. But,
That's a good point.
obviously with online, you kind of want to, generate everyone in the country to be playing in it. But I kind of like the idea that you reduce the amount of players or the amount of qualifiers for last chance because then it makes it much more. It's literally like you guys were saying, it's literally the last chance. You know, there is absolutely no other reason why you should enter that tournament and make it feel like it's gonna be an easy win. Because it's
It's
like
going to make that tournament way more fun to watch too. Than the
exactly,
fourth
yeah,
spot.
and that's what I was thinking about too. It's like you think about any playoff scenario, any last chance scenario, you always have like the top of the top like play each other, and then you come up against like Issei versus MOV or something like that. Like obviously talking about in Japan standards, but you see something like that, everyone's eyes are glued to the screen. You cannot
Mhm.
miss that. Whereas with like two more spots, it's kind of like you even it out a little bit more, especially with America, you know? Because with America, it's like, okay, you have Kang who comes in, Mei who comes in last minute, Yi would come in last minute. So, chance those are three spots already. There's hardly going to be many players that will take that away from those players. Whereas if you reduce it, it's like, then you have like, Kang versus Yi in the finals of one bracket. It's like who the hell's going to win that? You know? So things like it adds a nice layer and it adds a nice dynamic to the last chance qualifier aspect of it. And then on the flip side with the online, it gives a lot more opportunity for players to actually I guess to actually take that leap into playing online. You know, it's like you don't really see some of the online like consistent players playing in tournaments offline.
Yeah.
So it'll tell them like, listen, now if it'll say like, listen, like play on this online qualifier or get your points and then qualify for Jazzy and show what you can do. So I like that idea. Yeah.
I feel like the scene has changed where if 5 years ago somebody was like they're doing an online qualifier for Jazzy One, there probably would have been more of an like a backlash of like, oh, who play? These online players suck.
Yeah.
It's all about arcade. But I'm an online guy. Everybody here plays Kang. I think can only play online, which
That is correct.
bizarre.
Yeah.
But my initial reaction was like, oh man, it's supposed to be an arcade only thing. And then I realized like everybody who's good online is good on cab at this point. And it
Yeah.
does add this curiosity. There are still some players who have never really, like even this last weekend, Cartola in France. Cartola's a longtime online player. He came
Yeah.
offline. It was a really cool storyline, and he was able to really show up and prove that he's not just an online lag abuser or something. He's a legitimately strong player, and that's kind of the potential storyline of this year is like, is it won by another offline player who's just playing online, or is it won by one of these online only guys, and now he has a chance to come out and realize that the keyboard doesn't plug into the cabs and you have to go home.
Yeah, I mean, what was it?
Yeah.
Neiman too. What was it season 3? Like everybody was kind of like, well, Neiman just plays online. A lot of the stuff he's not doing is real.
Yeah,
And
season
then,
two.
or season 2,
And
yeah, yeah,
and that was the biggest thing too, because me personally, I was always of the opinion that I knew Neiman was good, but I always wanted him to come out to an actual major because I played him in like 2012, at the 25th anniversary, and obviously he was a good player. But then it's like you play him online, and then like he plays me and Kang like all the time, like every day. You start to see that progress, and then it's like, Jesus Christ, like the way he plays online can be frustrating. So then it's like you just want to see that play style. How does it transition offline? You know? And he showed up, and then he immediately proved that that play style transitions offline. You know? So I just like you guys were saying to your point with the with Cartola, the same exact thing. I think if you come from online and then you play offline, you always get that criticism of like, you know, like, oh, that stuff only works online, it doesn't work offline. I think in today's day, it doesn't work that way anymore. You're not going to face that criticism like, oh, this only works online. Because realistically, if you're a good player online now, with the quality of the online play, chances are you're going to transition that offline. There's no question about it.
Yeah, I
So
agree. You were probably the first guy who dealt with that. This
oh,
ain't online type stuff. Like that was your come up. It was like the lag doesn't work here,
you get
but
you get
it's
Ahmed telling
come
me
on.
like in my ear like that shit doesn't work offline, and then you get Frankie telling me like go back to fucking GGPO or
Yeah.
and I heard it all, but you know, you proved them wrong.
Coming out, yeah, and it's different now. I don't think anybody who comes offline is going to have a major issue transitioning. There's some timing differences and stuff, but it's pretty easy to get into the groove of the cab with 10, 15 games.
Yeah. What do you used to say, Kang? You got to make concessions when playing
Yeah,
online.
you do.
Yeah.
There is a downside though, in mentioning Neobon and talking about TSB, which we're gonna roll into, but as Jazzy gets bigger and better and more eyes are on it, that also means more of the international eyes. You know,
Foreign players, yeah.
and they're certainly going to be pretty restrictive in going to an auto qualifier, and they certainly can't qualify for points. So the fact that there's only four last chance spots might hurt the international draw. Um, if there are some people that might be considering, well, I feel like I might have a decently good shot with 6 slots, but with 4, it's going to be like extremely tough. I'm hoping that the international crowd will want to come to Jazzy and compete, because that's always fun to have um, a broader audience, not just the participants, but also the crowd at home rooting those participants on. It's always nice to look at stream chat and see just how many different regions um, comprise the viewership of a big tournament. So that was certainly the case with TSB this past weekend. So we'll see what happens, but yeah, 4 slots.
Who would you guys want to see that like? Because I can't even think as far as Jazzy's gone. Like, what international competitors have we had besides like Niabon and Issei? Like, besides those two, like who else has traveled? Has anybody traveled out to Jazzy?
There were a few Canadians year one. I think
Chirithi
Chirithi
came.
Charithi, yeah.
yeah,
He came. Yeah.
Yeah,
but it's been
and
Did
pretty
he make it?
limited.
Did he make top 16 for last year or this year?
last year he did.
This
I
year he
don't
did.
want. I want to say yes, but maybe not. I don't remember. My memory's always bad.
Yeah, I don't think Charithi made top 16 this year.
No, I think
I
he
think he
lost right before.
yeah, because it was Niabon Yi in my pool,
Oh,
Tommy,
oh, there you go.
Oh, he
Hey,
did. Okay.
yeah, Tommy Kang qualified. I think was it Tommy? I think it was
Yep.
Tommy.
Yeah.
And then who were the other two? Frankie and
Frankie.
Frankie,
Yi.
Mommy, Neobon,
yeah, Van.
Mommy.
E.
Yeah, yeah, Makoto Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's already
tough.
really tough, right? Like already in pools this year, when there were 3 pools, there was like, okay, each like group of 3 or 4 people at the end is like, oh yeah, that looks hard, right? Like, even if you're already in top 16, you're looking at those 4 at the end of the pools. I'm like, I'm not sure I could beat all 4 of those guys in a row. Like,
Yeah.
that looks pretty tough.
And that's a good point. What Dan Rice just said. The South American players, like to see the Central and South American players come out and show what they have too. That would be a nice little touch.
That'd be
But
so. The Chileans, I would love to see the Chileans come. But Kang's
the
right. It makes
Chileans,
a good.
the Brazilians.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Mexican players are very strong. But Kang makes a good point that now it's kind of de-incentivized that because
But
there's
I think
less spots.
it seems like the focus has always been heavily on American Third Strike. But with the way that the quality of play that we have currently is, it always felt like it's always been above everyone else at this point. So it's always like been the other countries have to go through us in order to, make it towards that next level to like Japan kind of thing. But um, yeah, I mean it's still an opportunity for them to come out and join like the biggest outside of Co-op Cup. I mean, what other tournament is that big these days? You
And
know?
the thing about Jazzy, if the people listening haven't been, is yes, the tournament is the main focus, but it's an incredible casual thing too. I
Mhm.
mean, there's
Yeah.
so many cabs and the opportunity to play all day. I mean, Jazzy One was a 24-hour venue, and I played for 24 straight hours. That's not the way it's been going in the last couple of years, but
Yep.
the amount of games that you can get, everybody strong is playing. There's not like there's maybe a big boy cab, but you can sneak in there and play some games with the guys that you've been watching from home. Your favorite celebrity third strike players. But you should come out. Hopefully, you'll be able to qualify. But if you don't, people who don't qualify, people who go 0-2, still have wonderful times and play countless great games. I want Chile to come.
Yeah. I remember there was that TFC 2017 where the Japanese players came. I think there was like a full team of France players, right? There was like Niaban
Yeah, it
came,
was
Yaz came.
Niaban, Yaz, Victor, and Farouk.
Yeah, that was a big.
Farouk was
Uh,
very strong. That Urian, I was very impressed with. I haven't seen. Did he change his name, or was he in that tournament this week?
It was in
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
tournament.
he was the El Spectator.
Oh, okay. Changed his name.
so yeah, I think maybe who knows? Maybe eventually down the line they'll probably increase the spots. Make it instead of top 16, they'll make it top 32 eventually.
top
Who knows?
64.
It's top 64.
Eventually, they just might do a big tournament. That would
Yeah,
be.
exactly. Or like the way that 25th was, where you have like worldwide like
Mhm.
qualifiers kind of thing. So maybe that's the direction they're going in. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe I can get Mutant to extend it to 32, so I have a shot at qualifying.
Even that sounds like a bit of a stretch to me, but
I am top 32 in this tournament, sir. Don't
no.
need to brag or anything, so.
At that point, they'll just give you a pair of socks. Like, good job.
Yeah, right.
Good jackets, little medals.
Like here's a
You get
consolation.
cufflinks.
A
Yeah.
Maturino stretch goal. Buy Ray a pair of socks if he wins one game in top 32.
Yeah, winner of TSB getting a spot would be nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that could be sick for the future, right? Maybe there's like Jazzy auto qualifiers across the U.S., like one in Japan, or not U.S., but I mean the world, like one in
Yeah.
U.S., one in Europe, one in South America, like
I imagine there's a
Canada.
big
That would
financial
be
strain to that,
super
right?
sick.
Yeah, the logistics of all of that too to get
Yeah,
to get all
flying
those
them across
players.
the
Yeah,
world.
flying them. Yeah, that's a little heavy.
If anyone wants to, pony up several $1,000s a year to fund all of these extravagant ideas,
You
volunteer.
need the
See what they
Saudis.
say.
You need the Saudis to come in.
That's
There's
not-
got
Oh
to be
my
a Saudi Arabian third
You
strike
guys, you
player.
guys can't neglect the Australians. I mean, come on now.
Oh yeah, we need that Street Fighter 6 money is what we need. Like it's a much better game to watch this one. They can just throw their money our way. So
Yeah.
yeah, Tokyo Qual would be sick.
What else? So we talked about online.
Talk about the
What about
venues.
the auto qualifiers in each spot? Like, what do we think about those? So we got 5 slots here. Looks like we got one for each region, basically. Looks like we got California, right? Arizona, Texas, Midwest, East Coast, right? That's kind of the breakdown.
It's literally going through the entire U.S. Like,
Yeah.
that's nice.
Yeah, I guess if you're, what regions are missing? Like, is there a third strike region that exists? That I mean, I guess you could say like North Carolina. Like, what even is that? Is that like Southeast, or is this considered East Coast?
It's typically considered a little southeast. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah, the Louisiana, Tennessee region as well.
okay.
Kentucky, a
But
little
basically, it's
cluster.
like every major third strike region for the most part, and then yeah, the North Carolina guys could go to the East Coast one if they want, or
Do you guys think the winner of Jazzy from the previous tournament, like the previous Jazzy's winner, do you think they should get like their area should get like priority in terms of the auto qualifier? Like in baseball, basically what used to happen is if the National League or American League won the All-Star game, that team would host the World Series. You would get home
Uh,
field advantage. So I'm thinking of it like that. Like, what would you guys think of something like that, where if
The winner
like for
doesn't even
example,
get seeded the next year, which it always frustrated me. Like
that
seeing
that
Yi
would
have to
be
come back.
that yeah, like some type of incentive, like not incentive, but another sort of like another prize into the next year. I guess they get seeding.
That would
I
be
guess.
cool. But I think we have to start with having Kang just officially be back in for next year, and I think Yi should have been.
Yeah.
This idea that like Yi won and then had to come through last chance the next year was strange to me.
hey, right? Like, you got to earn your spot every year. Nothing is given to you. Each year is a
He's
fresh
got the-
new.
I
He's got
respect
the
that.
belt. I want the belt to be handed off. I don't want Kang to keep it.
Yeah. Just spitballing here, but just
That would be
something.
cool to
Because that's a nice thing about these type of formats. You get that whole competitive sense to come in, and you kind of come up with all these ideas to say, okay, you know what? Like, let's make it harder for these people, make it a little bit easier for these people. But then last chance qualifiers, everyone's going to hell. You know?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think.
I don't think
Oh, sorry, I can't.
I don't I don't think there's a good way to really make everything work. So
Mm-mm.
Yeah, poor,
kinda
poor,
gotta
poor,
roll with it.
poor Mutant and those staff, dude. Just trying to make all those fucking divas happy, like every
Yeah.
year. So
I think on paper this is my favorite version. I really care mostly about the auto qualifiers, and I feel like they've hit pretty much all the
It's a
areas.
good
You could
balance.
Maybe
Yeah.
it's a good balance. You could maybe switch Arizona for North Carolina, but Arizona, they have strong players there, and they have the gaming zone. I think
Arizona
it's
actually has a fairly
They,
large.
they have
scene.
an active scene.
Yeah, they have an active scene where North Carolina actually hasn't come out to Jazzy historically.
Well, Knuckle Dust came last year,
And
and
Nicholas and Flannel Jack last year.
yeah,
Flannel
they
Jack.
qualified. Yeah, both
Flannel
of them.
Jack's
Well,
come-
only Flannel Jack. Flannel Jack has been like the
Yeah,
mainstay
Flannel Jack's
for.
been there every year, but there were
Yeah.
years where Roski didn't. Roski.
Oh,
I don't
Face
think
was there
ever-
too.
Yeah,
This
face.
last
Yeah,
year.
He was there this year.
yeah.
Yeah, the other good thing about Arizona having one is that it allows for the Cali region to travel down because everyone can agree that Cali is pretty stacked. So that's probably the compromise for having two auto qualifier spots for that region.
That makes a lot of sense. Hey, you're very intelligent.
Really smart guy. Do you want to host this podcast?
Like, you're really smart. No wonder you won the Jazzy tournament.
It's actually freaking me out because I always thought you were very stupid because of the way that you played. But like, I
too.
guess there's more to a man than his Dudley. I
Yeah.
didn't know.
Yeah. His intellect's really wasted on his character.
Incredible.
But incredible points, very subtle takes. It's almost like you came prepared.
Yeah, what a guy.
Oh my god.
That was a big issue. I think it was last year with California. Did it not have an auto qualifier last year, or was it the year previous? Like, I know it was hard to find a venue, but to do a national third strike tournament and to not have California being prioritized in any way. But this
Well,
year they had one,
they
right?
did. Yeah, they had barcode.
Yeah, the Mir
Uh,
qualified out of that one, I think. Yeah,
That sounds
then
right.
Maybe
I think it was the
and then
year
there was, I
before
guess,
though,
Don-
because it was still
maybe it
COVID
was
times,
season
right?
3. Yes, and Don's was closed because of COVID. Don's
Mhm.
was the season 2-1 where Yi beat Ryan, I think.
Yeah, and I don't think a lot of Don's was not open, and I don't even think Barcode was around for the previous year before that. So I just don't think they had like a good spot to host it. And that's a big thing with these auto quals too, right? It's like if you look at the list, it's like these are like kind of the pinnacle of arcades in the U.S. Like if you're gonna go play somewhere, this is where
And
you
they're
want to travel
local
to play.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
mean,
they're
it's
like
being
local
played at-
spots too.
And it's being played at Akihabara, which is probably the nicest of all of them.
yeah. But you get
I really like Akihabara. Great.
Yeah.
It's hard to find a venue that's perfect. I didn't really have anything to complain about last year. I guess the only thing I mentioned, right, was like, oh, maybe this upcoming year, maybe there could be more seating.
Yeah.
We had to kind of like find places to sit there this year. Actually, so my favorite from that point of view, and I don't know if this was just random chance or whatever, but I felt like at Jazzy 2, we had the stage, right? And then there was just all the seating out there. It felt like very like intimate, I guess, and like
Mhm.
yeah, I thought it was a good setup. I don't know if they can, what they can replicate or how much space they have. I'm sure there's plenty of logistical problems. Yeah, overall, I'd say Akihabara was a great arcade. Didn't really have anything to complain about. The parts were good, setups were good. Staff was friendly. There's been a couple venues in the past that did not have as friendly staff. So
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
No, I think Aki, yeah, it was about as good as it could possibly get, except for the seating. If they could move those, I think they had like Vuelix right there. If you could just kind of scoot those over and
you just like put those outside.
yeah,
Yeah.
like scoot those over, get them out of the way. And then I prefer head to head instead of side by side. Like head to head,
Yeah,
I
sure.
think is so much better. I don't want to see someone's hands, what they're doing, because it's hard for me to like focus in that regards. And I've seen people looking over, like mid game. Like,
Sure.
yeah, I don't think playing side by
Like,
side is good.
I know you're listening.
No.
That's why I press so many buttons so no one can understand what I'm doing.
But yeah, other than
But
that,
what kind of environment would you guys prefer, or not necessarily prefer, but the what do you think would like what do you feel in terms of the differences between playing in a local spot versus like for an auto qualifier versus like an actual major, like for example Frosty or something like that? Because I know like for you Lance, you and Dan, like you guys played, that was an auto qualifier, right? Where you guys played.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So it's
I
like
wiped most of that out of my memory, but I'll try to remember.
I can recall it very easily. If you have any questions, I can put myself back there
so
immediately.
that's the thing. It's like because we all know that once the top 8 comes up at majors these days for Third Strike, now they have the tendency to put us on stage, or put us on I guess a side stage, with the cabinet and have the projector and everything like that. So, like, what do you guys feel in terms of that environment compared to the
I
local
love
scene?
that. I love
Like
that.
that
Jazzy
exposure,
one,
right?
yeah, it's super sick to just have two cabs in an isolated space, have the crowd, and you walk up to it. No, I mean there's something so NEC was the last tournament. I guess I played in Jazzy, but NEC was a very small tournament. It did not have a good show out, but the setup was amazing. It was on a stage. They wheeled the Versus Cities up there. They had all these lights, and then they had the big screens, and people were sitting in the crowd, and you could watch the gameplay on the big screen with the sound. I mean, it was unfortunate there were 11 people there.
yeah,
But
Who beat
it
you out of
was,
that tournament?
but nobody. I was the champion, of course.
Oh,
You got a jacket
course.
there, I think, didn't you?
Oh, you're talking about the NEC, previous NEC, where I was defeated by none other than world champion Exodus Can. Who else beat me that tournament? Was it Dice Can?
Frankie maybe?
Frankie, yeah.
One of the usual suspects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
no, I guess it depends
Um,
on the type of tournament too. Like,
Yeah, because you guys went to Texas Showdown too, right?
yeah, yeah,
It wasn't
Texas.
necessarily an auto qualifier, but it had that flair, to put you guys on stage, and then
Yeah,
that whole thing.
it was really hype with us being on stage, and then I don't know if you could see it in the videos, but we're actually like stage by stage, right? So as we're playing, like Tekken's going on to the left of us, and then to the left of that, some fucking anime game. I don't even know what it is or whatever, but it was just fun hearing like how hype Third Strike got. Like you're all these other games are like going on, but then like Third Strike's popping off, so you could actually see people like looking over, like, oh, what the hell's going on over there? Like, what's going on in that game? So,
Yeah.
but then too, I don't know, like the set between like you and Yuki at Game of Dreams, where it was just like, it
Oh.
just felt like we were in a fucking basement with like two of these fucking juggernauts just duking it out, and like all of us just kind of surrounding the cab, like that. That was pretty sick environment too. So I don't know, it just depends. So, but Aki did a really good job as far as production last year. So
Yeah, I mean, I like the big tournaments, right? Like Frosty, I think has always been. So I've been twice, and I enjoyed myself both times. Went to Combo Breaker once, that was good. Went to Texas Showdown last year, that was good. Yeah, I mean, I like. I don't know. It's hard to explain. There's like a certain nostalgia to me at this point. I've only been a few times, so I don't know why it would be nostalgic. But you walk into these old hotel ballrooms, and there's like ugly carpet that was last replaced 20 years ago, And I don't know. There's just when you walk into the arcade, you find okay, where's the
And then
arcade
you
room?
hear the arcade
Yeah,
room
yeah.
like in the
Oh,
like
it's so fun.
slowly through the halls.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's always been like one of the most like entertaining things. Like you're looking for the arcade room, you're like, where the hell is it? You try to listen for it.
Yeah,
And
you
then
gotta
like you
follow your ears.
yeah, and then you hear like Storm in the background, like from MVC2, and like you just hear her making noise. I'm like, oh, that's where it is. This way.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that. I like that they're usually like spacious rooms. That's nice. I like that the way that it's set up. Usually, you can hear the game. Like I'm a big like really
Audio guy.
audio guy, right? Yeah, complain. I've been known to complain for years. Like, oh,
Lance
can't hear
is
the
a
game.
big complainer. Let's just be real here.
Yeah, like I've been at the tournaments, right, where in like arcades where the room's small and like right behind you, someone is just blaring DDR and just like going at 5,000 beats per minute, right? And you're playing in grand finals, and
Yeah.
you're like, oh my
Could
god,
you
how does
imagine
anyone?
if,
I want a
could you
fucking
imagine if
soundproof
that
booth.
Oh, can I
could you
can I
imagine if
mention
that
this though?
arcade was hosting
Oh,
an
sorry.
auto qualifier?
What's up?
Could you imagine if that arcade was hosting an auto qualifier? That would be devastating. If it was
Yeah,
in your state.
that's true.
I do respect that. I know the previous year, the host that hosted Jazzy did not turn off the casual cabs during top 16, which is to me is that's a sin. Like you should never do that. Like
Yeah,
it
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
it so much better when everyone's just having to sit and focus on the finals. It makes it so much more hype. Like I know people
It,
travel to
it's
play and stuff, but like
it's
finals
etiquette.
day is just like give these people their respect. They just busted ass to get here. Like like don't
Ray,
be
were you
fuck.
at Jazzy One?
I was not. No, no, that was after. That was before my
Jazzy
time.
One's was my favorite setup in terms of the way it was viewed,
Hmm.
the way it was just structured, and I also liked how the players would win or lose and then go back behind the cab. Like I remember losing my set and then going and having the best view of the tournament because I was directly behind the cab. And it just felt like I was kind of part of like the cool kids club of like you guys are all in the crowd. And I'm sure I lost. I went 0-2 and lost every fucking round.
It
But
was
I
a
can look.
two-story atrium too.
What's
Yeah,
that?
wasn't the weren't the commentators
Oh
like on the
yeah,
balcony or something like that?
yeah.
Yeah.
Holdad and Durlath were like up top.
But then for some reason the commentary came through the I guess the stereo or something like that.
It was funny.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but yeah, Aki was like that too. Like you got the setup, people were sitting behind them, and then the crowd kind of behind them as well. But good setup.
yeah. I think Aki's setup last year was perfectly good.
Yeah.
There's a separate stage for the big things. If I don't really care about side by side versus head to head. If you say like you prefer head to head, I understand. It doesn't make a difference to me, but I get it. But I thought Aki's setup was totally good. If there's a stage where it's kind of like separated a little bit, then that's really all. That's like the biggest thing for me. It helps when they're pumping that sound over the speakers. That's always really cool when that's happening. Big fan of that. Yeah, I think Aki's a good it's an arcade. I don't necessarily feel because it might I did not come up in arcades, right? I started online. I played in my pajama pants on Fightcade and 360 for 10 years, right? And coming out to arcade was once in a while. And when I first started coming out to events, it was like to ballrooms, Summer Jam 2015, TFC 2016, 2017, Jazzy 1. These are all ballrooms. So it actually, when I moved to Texas, it took some adjustment to get used to these spaces, right? Like UFO. And like the DDR machine, the dastardly DDR machine of UFO, or there's every small venue has its idiosyncrasies, or every arcade does. And free play is the same way. There's stuff you have to adjust to. I don't necessarily feel too much like Akihabara. Like I don't feel the arcade downsides, which I mean, there might only be downsides to me, right? I'm very picky,
Very,
because of
very,
my
very
background.
picky. Yes, very picky.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
I don't really feel like there's anything worth complaining about at Akihabara, so I'm glad that they're doing it there again. I feel like I don't know what their plans are, but I feel like they found a good spot to use for the foreseeable future if they want to. Yeah, I would certainly have no complaints.
And
Well,
it seems like they're not opposed to making the adjustments too, right? I mean, they're not opposed to stuff like that.
Yeah, and we're sectioned off from like the public too. Like that's the most
Mm.
important thing too. Is the fighting game section has its own section. Like all the head to heads and all the Vuelix and everything is in its own part of the arcade. That's like separate from everything else. And I think I mean, people wander in and stuff, obviously, but it's like obviously like, oh, there's an event going on in there. normies aren't really fucking with it, like
So
like there is at other
Timmy's
venues.
birthday isn't
Timmy's
Timmy's
birthday.
birthday
Yeah,
isn't
yeah, happening. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. All right. What else we got here, boys? We want to hop
Do
into
you
TSB, or do you want
do
to?
you guys know what kind of venue they had for TSB?
Yuki told me it was like a school, or was that you, Lance?
I don't know. It looked like an auditorium to me of some sort.
Right?
It was an impressive display of arcade hardware. The amount of machines that they got in there. I don't think those cabs live there. So I remember helping take the cabs up for Jazzy 1. I got wrangled into it thinking I could play casuals after I helped set the cabs up. The casuals were not allowed, and I worked for like 2 hours. It's a nightmare to move those machines, and they did a really good job. I think they had 20 setups. They had an interesting
What?
blue cab.
Holy shit!
Yeah, they had 20 individual head cabs at TSB. Whoever put that
That's
on put
crazy.
in a tremendous amount of effort.
I think
Yeah.
that's
They know
what is
how to
it,
host.
TKO or
No, it's another crowd.
hmm.
And they're doing a Street Fighter 2 one, a Super Turbo one as well. I think XSB.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because I noticed that the previous years that they had those big like those major tournaments in France, like it's always been in venues that were like really well produced. You know, like the camera quality, the audience being able to watch. It's like you would always see like a whole crowd there, almost like you said, like an auditorium.
Yeah.
So it's like
Had
that
like
that really,
in the past, it had like SBO feel to it. I feel like they
yeah,
were able
exactly,
to
yeah.
create.
So stuff like that is really something that that gets me hyped up to play like when I see that because it's like this is like the production value that we've always wanted to have, you know, but we can
I would
never
love to see
attain.
a smoke machine come back. When I think about classic Third Strike, it's it's Q's theme and then a smoke machine and
And
people
then the
just
players
walking through
walking
the
out.
smoke. And then with their name, like if there's any way, it's a very low cost thing. I mean, I'll put in
Yeah.
my $10.
Just one vapor.
We need a smoke machine for the entrances.
Just get a
Not
bunch
just
of
two guys
jewels.
walking up. Well, two guys. I had made my own smoke machine for years, but two guys walking up and then someone being like, "Okay, next on the." That's not going to work this year. We need da-na-na-na, da-na-na-na,
Yeah.
and then so I would love to see that. And I feel like it's doable.
What can we get intros like WWF, dude? Like
That would be so sick.
Let's
And
turn it up.
music,
Let's just
intro
put fire
music.
in there.
hell yeah. I'm
Get the
down for it.
pyrotechnics going.
Everybody picks their theme song.
Well, maybe not pyrotechnics. All right, I'm not trying to risk burning shit down.
No, it's worth it.
Yeah, it's worth it.
Yeah, smoke machine, all that. Yeah, even at was it TSB? I like the setup, like the lights were dimmed and it had like the red lights on the cabs with like the banners in the background. It just looks so sick, dude. Production's so high. Yeah, beautiful.
So
Yeah,
in terms of that tournament, that was so the Japanese players that went, it was only Yamoda, Kuni, and Taihei.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, just those
Yeah.
two.
But outside of that, I think just the Canadian team went, and I don't think anyone else went, right?
No Americans went, but there were a bunch of different Europeans who went. I think they had like 20 or 30 different countries. It was probably the most internationally diverse tournament I can remember. I can't. Maybe a cooperation cup at some point, but there were so many different European countries.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Though to be fair, I mean, not to hate on the continent of Europe, but
Oh, it's like states, really. It's like
they are
Yeah.
states. Yeah, like that would be like Jazzy, like we got some guys from Wisconsin this year. Like, look at the diversity.
yeah. No, I know
You know?
you're right.
we have the state flag. No,
Yeah,
yeah,
we got someone from Florida.
yeah. Me as a dumb
Like-
Texan, I was just like, I don't know where the fuck any of these countries are from, dude. Like, I just seriously had no clue.
Yeah, it's all like an hour train ride to get anywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So, what do we think about the
No-
results?
no
Right?
American.
That was. I mean, when top Japanese players come, right? Kuni's like a top Japanese guy. Yamoto's like the best Dudley, most likely. Certainly top 3 Dudley in the world at the worst. When the players of those caliber travel to other places, I don't necessarily expect them to lose, right? I think like, oh yeah, like they're like the favorites. I'm not saying they can't lose.
Just because Hayao won the last big French tournament, and Hayao's playing Hugo. and he dominated the entire event.
Mm-hmm.
So I was surprised that it was a France versus France grand final.
Mm-hmm.
Although I don't think Hayao. Well, just to backtrack, I don't think Hayao necessarily dominated in a sense in the tournament, at least, because I think didn't he wasn't he put into losers by
Yeah,
Yaz?
yeah, let's put him into
Sounds
losers.
right.
Yeah, yeah, I think he beat him like 3-0 and put him in losers, and then Hayao came
Yeah,
back
right.
and I think Hayao won what 6-1, 6-0. Like it was pretty dominant in the run back, but
Did he also win like an exhibition? I'm trying to think. Like, did he win the team event? I feel like he won a lot that weekend.
Yeah, yeah. He played the first some first to fives. I know he played against the other lands.
The other Lance.
Oh,
Yeah,
Kyokuchi.
Kyokuchi.
Kyokuji. Yeah, that was nice to see. But
That was
yeah,
another
I mean,
example of an online only player coming out. I mean, I know he had been to 30th. He don't think he played in the tournament, but he was at an event. But that was the first time Kyokuji had come out playing Alpha 3 and playing Third Strike.
yeah, that's you always want to see a player like him come out, and that was really nice. But yeah,
Yeah.
like you guys were saying with the Japanese players, like looking at that lineup, it like Kuni, Yamoda, and Taihei, it's like, you know, they're not. It's not like Yakun, Issei
mm.
RX kind of thing.
Oh shit, did we lose Nika?
What else is new?
Uh-huh.
Well, I
It's-
can pick up where I think he was going. I mean,
yeah.
the tiers. So a
Oh, there we
Ryu,
go.
a
There we go.
Dudley.
Yeah,
Oh,
Nika, are you there?
you're back.
Oh yeah, I'm back. Sorry, I think I froze.
Yeah, yeah, you're
Uh-huh.
good.
But yeah, I was saying with Yamoda, didn't he win Co-op Cup this year with his team? Something like that.
Sounds right. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
And he
so
so.
pushed Nuki very far in their first to 10.
Yeah, it was like, wasn't it
yeah,
10-7 or something? It was
10-7, 10-8. Yeah, it was a
that's the
crazy
matchup,
set.
right? Like if you say, okay, in a first to 10, if it's a 6-4 matchup and they win 10-7, you have outlined the matchup and the results, right? That's basically true.
Well, as a Chun player, that means you lose most of your first to 10s.
So we don't count it that way. We only count it when it's beneficial to us. You got to have that kind of option select ready. But yeah, like you think Yamoto versus Nuki, oh, he can push Nuki 10-7 or whatever the score was. So you think like, oh, he must be like, I would have thought going in, oh, Yamoto must be the favorite or Kuni, right? But
Yeah, it was
yeah,
a Yamato Kuni Grand Finals in my mind, and it was
that's
like
what I
who's
was
getting
thinking.
third.
yeah, exactly.
What did I tell you, Lance?
What did you tell me? You said Yaz will be in grand finals. What else did you say?
I said Japanese not winning it.
Okay, that's all you said. All right.
Yep,
Well, pretty good. You
Yep.
you called it.
Thank you, thank you. So
I
very
guess those who can't play can be on the commentary desk.
Ray has a crystal ball somewhere.
Yeah,
It's somewhere in that room.
I mean, it's just
They don't-
tough,
they don't-
right? To take like Denjin that far, or even like Dudley.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna run into that level of Chun. Like I mean, like it can't.
Especially 2 out of 3, like you guys were saying too.
Yeah,
It's like
it's an interesting setup. 2 out of 3 all the way. You got to respect it. It's their tournament, but
Mm.
it's certainly not the way that I like to see the end of tournaments go. I want to see as many games as possible. But
Yeah, I was kind of shocked they didn't do 3 out of 5 in grand finals. Like
Oh, I love it. I love it. 2 out of 3 the whole way, baby.
Yeah.
Fucking adjust or die. Welcome to France, baby. Welcome to Paris.
I mean, that's my format there. Like I'll take 2 out of 3 all day long.
the
Like
tiers matter a lot. Like in the past, when the Japanese have come to Western events, it's often the Yun players, the Chun players,
yeah.
and they dominate because those characters are incredibly strong. To take a Denjin Ryu, to take a Dudley. I mean, Kang, you were able to win the national tournament with Dudley, and I tip my hat to you. That's very, very challenging to do. I mean, that character
dropped my
is
hat,
strong. I tip.
It would have been a lot easier if I used Yang.
Oh yeah.
Well, the
Okay.
stability of Yang, right?
Oh no.
But they sent over a Urian, a Ryu, and
Dudley.
a Dudley.
Yeah.
Those are
Yeah.
all, strong characters without question, but they're not Yun Chun.
Yeah, they're human.
I-
Is essentially what it.
Yeah, I think they're limited by their characters at some point, especially because when you play against in a foreign country, 2 out of 3 the whole way, and then you're playing against players that you've never really played too often from, in high pressure situations like that. It's really difficult to come up with a plan and say, okay, my Denjin is going to, random out this person, or my like spaced out like Jouden kick is gonna hit this guy when he's crouching. It's like no, that works like once in a while, maybe in one game, but 2 out of 3, probably not so much, But yeah, I
It
think
goes to show how strong Sugiyama and Hayao are, because Sugiyama winning Red Bull,
yeah,
that's very impressive with Necro, and then Hayao having that experience.
Well, they are also 1999 players, and Yamada
that
and
too,
Kuni
yeah.
are not.
That's true. And then obviously, imagine if Sho was part of that lineup. You think anybody would win against Sho? And
It'd be tough.
realistically, it'll be extremely, extremely tough.
And France had sent Rikimaru to their previous events, and I believe he won. Is that accurate, Lance?
Yep.
That when Rikimaru had been in the past.
Yeah. Rikimaru went the year that Kang and I went. The first year they flew in a Japanese player. That was Rikimaru.
Yeah.
Good lord.
Yeah, I think maybe France got the memo of okay, if we're gonna fly Japanese guys in, let's stop flying in the Chuns and Yuns. Let's fucking fly in some
It was
Ryus.
actually smart, because they didn't fly in the Necros and the Oros and the Ibukis. They flew in I could fight a Dudley. I could fight a Ryu, I could probably fight a Urian. And they didn't fly in
fought
RB.
the characters that are really prominent for them.
Yeah, I thought Taihei was an interesting choice. I mean, of course, he's a very strong player, but I wanted to see RB. I wanted to see Ryu. I wanted to see RX. But Taihei went very far, though. He played well.
Yeah, I think I don't know their level of if they speak the language or anything like that in regards, because I know here in Texas we were talking about maybe trying to fly out some of the Japanese for a tournament or something like that, but it's also who can speak the language and communicate well enough to come and mesh with the scene and things like that. So
Yuki.
Yeah, Yuki, yeah.
Yuki.
He's this full-time translator the whole weekend, so.
Yeah, so I guess going down the matches one at a time, Neobon Neobon beats Kuni and Yamoda, right? That's correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Neobon, I mean, what is this guy?
I'm not surprised. Neobon is an unbelievable player.
Yeah.
And I had the opportunity to play him at Jazzy 3, and I've played a lot of very good Makotos, but he is the best Makoto that I've played. I haven't played Japanese Makotos. I've played Issei's Makoto, which is extremely strong, but that Makoto that Neobon's built is just fucking different, man. He is a super talented player.
Yeah,
I remember, back the first year that we went to Hado, so Neobon versus Rikimaru was grand finals, right? And there was a very strange format that year. It was you had to win best 2 out of 3, 2 out of 3. Does that make sense? You win a 2 out of 3, and then it resets. And there's another 2 out of 3, and now you're 1-1, and then you got to win a final 2 out of 3, and that was grand finals. And this is a single elim tournament.
That's the opposite of what they did this time.
Yeah. And I think Neobon in that brief moment, the first 2 out of 3, he just destroys Rikimaru. There's footage of it up. If you go back and watch that first 2 out of 3, you start to believe. You're oh my god.
What a Neobon round.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I remember at the time someone telling me oh yeah, they were talking to Rikimaru after the tournament, and Rikimaru was oh yeah, if Neobon went to Japan, he could easily just be on the main Makoto team. And
he's so strong.
Yeah, he's very dangerous. I've lost to him 2 Jazzies in a row now, so I know better than a lot of people.
He's very smart. His understanding of the Yuri and Makoto matchup was different than the other Makotos I've played. He just knew where to be at all times. And it wasn't a lot of Makotos, when they win, I have this feeling of oh, that was bullshit. With him, I was yeah, that was really great, man. He just outplayed me in those moments. Just total mastery of the character.
Yeah, was it Jazzy 3 when he came down? That was the Texas one. I'm newer. I didn't know who the fuck Neobon was whatsoever. Lance was just oh, this guy is here from France. He's here on a Wednesday. Come out to free play him in a 1st to 5. I'm yeah, sure. Why not? I'm here. I had a couple beers. I'll play him. I fucking lost the probably quickest 5-0 ever. I just got up what the hell is this? No one told me about this. I didn't know what I was getting into.
Who lied to me?
Yeah, Lance didn't fill me in on the backstory or anything.
I shouldn't have to fill you in on Neobon.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm newer. I haven't done my homework. So.
Yeah, I feel like Neobon is one of those players. I feel like he's one of those players that just his power level goes up when he gets into tournaments, it like goes up exponentially, kind of thing. I don't know what it is. It's like you play him in casuals, and it's like it's completely different from the way he plays in tournaments. Like maybe he saves the data that he collects from you, and like realistically with Makoto, you sort of have to do that, because you're making your opponent guess all the time. So if you see the way that all these players are playing, it's like you kind of record what they're doing, and it's like, all right, let me do the opposite in
Mhm.
tournament, and it just makes you
Very
go
tough
like,
for him.
yeah,
Two second places in a row, though, to get second at Jazzy and then second at TSB. He could have been the American and the French champion.
Damn.
nah,
That would
that
have been
wasn't.
incredible.
Kang would never.
He's amazing too because he comes out, he shows up, he gets to all. He's been to so many American events, and he's been, uh, really just showing up. I imagine he has Japanese experience. I don't remember off the top of my head Miyabani at Cooperation Cup, but I would imagine he's been there.
He definitely was in, like, you go back to the old Danielson rankings, and Neobon is in there, like seventh Dan or something. So yeah, he definitely went to Japan a few times.
He's
I was
Vietnamese,
thinking
right?
about like home field advantage when it comes to Neobon, and like how that I think that's a real thing. Home field advantage,
Yeah.
like uh, like Neobon has come to America every for a few Jazzies, and I think when you go to foreign soil, like not only are you jet lagged and you don't know all the people as well as they know each other, and everyone's rooting against you. Those are all home field advantage, but also there's this idea of like you have to beat everyone to succeed, and all you have to do is
Yeah.
lose to fail, right? Home field advantage means if any American beats you, then you just didn't win. USA, USA, right?
And that's a real variable for the Japanese who flew to France as well. I mean, they have the whole country on their back. That's a big burden.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yaz, and then Yaz as well. Yaz beats Kuni and Niabon, right? And then he plays Yamoda first to five after the tournament. He wins that as well.
Yeah.
So viva la France,
The king of third strike.
the king of
Bonjour, assholes.
To be fair, I don't think I've ever heard anybody root against Neobon. Like everyone loves Neobon. He's such a
No.
lovable dude.
Yeah.
One of the nicest human beings I've ever met.
Yeah,
Well, it's funny if you go to
a
France and
real.
ask them about Neobon, they'll be like, "Oh, he's so random. He's just so random. He's not thinking. He just does random moves. And they're teasing. They like him. They're his friends. So it's tongue in cheek. But yeah,
I was impressed with Yaz. I think he has a very clear killer instinct in tournaments. He can turn it on. If you've ever watched him play the RX first to 10, they have face cameras and it's really close. And he is so into every move. Like he's
Yeah.
so into it. And to me, that's like a pretty clear example of this guy he's like in the moment and he's playing with his heart. And I think that's taken him a long way in tournaments because at the end of the day, it's really mental. Whether or not he's better than Yamoda, it doesn't really matter. In that moment, he's able to channel his best version, and he's a killer, man. When it comes to tournaments,
Yeah. That's actually one of the things because I had a chance to play him both at TFC 2017 when the Japanese players came, and then he actually took a trip to New York and he was and it was like a one night thing where we played him like for hours upon hours, and it's just one of those things where like you could see how passionate he is about the game, and it's like watching him win because I think he won like a previous Big France tournament before, something like that.
King
maybe
of
Or
a
Third
maybe
Strike.
Stunfest or something.
like maybe some, yeah, maybe something like that. But then he's always been placing high, and that's one of the things that has always been apparent with him. Like he's always placed high. I don't think there's ever been anything lower than like fourth place or something like that, from what I recall. And just seeing the way that how hyped he got when he started like beating like Cooney and everything like that, it was like, man, it makes you want to play, and like seeing those type of
Yeah, it's
players that
intoxicating.
encourage you, yeah, that encourage you to play like that, like that's always a nice thing to see. So
Well,
yeah,
as
it
an
was it was
outside observer of France for as long as I've been playing the game, I've always watched France. Back in the day, Billy Kane, who I think is still around. I don't know if he's still playing as
yeah,
much, but to me now it's Niabon and Yaz. They're the two best in France by a pretty solid margin. I don't know. I mean, there's a few
where you
other
going, Kang?
players, but they seem to
Kang,
be the two. Lance, you probably would have a more
Kang, come back.
deep understanding of the France scene, but
They'll say, if you ask them who's their best player, they'll say Mimosa. So he wasn't at this
And
tournament.
and of course he wasn't there.
Mm-hmm. So here's a question. Well, now that I'm asking this question, now that two of our people have left, so maybe I should hold off. But I'll start with you guys. Does this so watching this tournament, the French put on a good performance. They beat two great Japanese players. Does this fill you with a passion? It's like, oh, I want to go compete versus France now. Maybe I want to go to France and see if I can, plant the American flag on French soil. Dan, obviously not, right? You'll never play again.
No, that's an absurd question for me. But I'll wait for Lloyd. I feel like he might have something to say.
Well, it gets me excited to play them, but at the same time, it's like, you know, the logistics of all that to go all the way to France, it's difficult to do, but you know, realistically, I mean, I'm probably gonna stir the waters here as I always do, but realistically, the level of play between between America and
So,
France, I still honestly believe that America is still above France. I mean, it's like,
Mm.
you still have, put it this way, Niaban has come here for the past couple of years, and he's placed top eight. Well, no, TFC 2016, he didn't get top eight. He lost to myself and Mutant. 2017, I forget who we lost to. Um, and then
Yeah, I
the
don't
past
remember
few,
either.
and then the past few Jazzies, same thing. I mean, yeah, he almost beat Kang, or not almost beat Kang, but he placed second place.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact is that there's still a whole level. You still have like Tenren, Cruz, like all these other American players that can still show up and still prove that, listen, like I can come out and still win if I had to. So I think the quality of American Third Strike play is just still second to Japan in that sense. Whereas with France, it's like they have good quality players, but I think because they're so spread out apart, I think that's what lends itself to the fact that they're not as strong as they could be. And that's what makes it a little bit scary, because it's like, imagine if Cartola could play against like all these guys offline like every day the way that we used to, you
Mm-hmm.
know? That would be like, because Cartola is a monster of knowledge, I don't know if you guys ever spoken to him before, but
oh
the
yeah,
things that he says and the things that he knows about the game is absolutely ridiculous. It's almost down to pixels. Like it's literally
it
down to
is down.
pixels
It's
actually.
down to pixels. Yeah, he
Yeah,
knows
it's
everything
actually
about
down to
it.
pixels. Like he would print out spreadsheets about dots, about
Mhm.
dots and the spacing between the characters, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, not even Japanese players go that far, you know?
Yeah.
So if they had access to that knowledge and actually embraced what he brought to the table, it's like, then yeah, I would kind of retract what I said, but you know, there's still more work to be done on that front, but that's my personal opinion. I still think that American Third Strike level is still above the rest in
Well,
that sense.
at least at the highest level of America. So, like the U.S. has always been a pretty top-heavy scene. You have your top seven or so guys, and then there's a pretty significant drop-off.
Hmm.
But France's top seven versus the U.S. top seven, I would go very confidently with the U.S. But I think France has like a very solid, their top tier is strong, and then I think their second tier might actually be better than our second tier. Like in the depth of it, they have a lot of
Yeah,
really good
at
players.
the major league level, like we have more, but then at
Yeah,
like the minor leagues, it's like they have
they have
much
a
more.
lot of really good players. Even
Yeah,
just back in the day playing on OE, anytime I saw a French player, he was pretty damn good. Like they all
yeah,
were pretty damn good. There
yeah,
are also only 60 million people, and like we have 320 million or so. So they are relatively small. I think it's like essentially the same size as California. So France
yeah,
versus California would be an interesting set.
yeah, and eventually that's what it seems like it would have to go like to be at, because it's like, to imagine, like, say like Kang, Yuki, and like Yi or something like that, because you had two Jazzy champions there, and then Yuki, who's like, you know, obviously the one of the better players. So it's like, imagine taking those three versus like, you know, who would France produce at that point? You have,
Jazz, Niabon, and Mimosa, I guess.
yeah, and it's like, you know, who would you take? You know?
Well,
I always
yeah,
bet
any
against
given
Kang
Sunday.
personally, so
USA. USA.
Yeah, I
It's a good
mean,
bet. Lance knows me well.
Yeah, I would never root for Kang in any
I'll
scenario.
I'll put my faith in Yuki then. But yeah, I
um,
mean, that's
But France is definitely, if it's Japan, U.S., it's got to be France.
yeah, of course, yeah. No
Like
question
without
about that.
question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kang, you have any thoughts on this topic?
I don't endorse anything Nika just said.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I'm a pacifist, so I don't have such opinions.
Okay. I mean, this is all speculation, right? Like,
This is coming from a Dudley player.
No, what's
It-
the question? Sorry, I walked away, so I think I get the gist of it, but if it's
oh, I was just asking, does this fill you with a passion to go like, okay, we watched the French perform really well. Does it fill you with a passion to go over and compete against them, right? Plant your American flag on French soil. And Nico was saying like, oh, I feel like America's better a little bit, right? That's pretty much the gist of where we are at.
Yeah.
That's
well,
so.
actually, I really enjoyed going to Hado and
Mhm.
TSB. I really wanted to go to TSB. Yaz had extended an invitation shortly after a Jazzy win, but family, and I just couldn't go. But I think from a competitor's perspective and Third Strike enthusiast perspective, like going to France during one of their big tournaments is something everybody should do. Um, as far as power levels, I've usually been pretty reserved when it comes to trying to compare people without again going back to the whole scientific data stuff. Like I just like having a good amount of data to make an informed opinion. And in this case, I don't think such an opinion can be made. Like even if you take some historical results, like me beating Niaban or Yaz coming to TFC and not doing as well as he would like. There's too many factors there that might have contributed to those results where I feel like it's not definitive enough for you to go one way or the other.
No, this is all
Um,
communist gobbledygook. USA, USA.
Oh, you love Europe so much. Why don't you move there, Kang?
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
seriously.
You want free healthcare that bad? Get the hell out of here.
yeah, no, so like I think if like so maybe many years ago there might have been some discussion about USA versus France, but I don't know if that ever came to fruition. And I feel like if that's something that we want to explore, certainly it's a really cool concept. But going back to what I discussed about in the podcast about people's circumstances, like how confident are you to say France and U.S. have five equivalent people who feel the same way about the game and have time and dedication to put towards this little uh, uh, comparison, right? Um, it's hard. Like even if it came to light and then one team won over the other, like I wouldn't put too much stake into the results just because I mean it's 2023 and unless it's been um, very prepared for, I feel I would take the results with a grain of salt, right? Like if we just
So
happen to meet up
diplomatic.
next week, I would not be like, all right, we won, we're better, or they won, or they're better. Feel like a collective buy-in again.
So
Yeah, but
diplomatic.
Yeah, what a buzzkill. Thanks, Kang. Thanks for that valuable insight.
Thanks for the truth. We don't need the truth here, okay?
Politically correct answer.
I mean, so I
God.
understand what you're saying about circumstances, blah blah blah. At the end of the day, you basically everyone plays how much they play, right? We're all old except for our young people. Everyone's going to have whatever circumstances they have. You could still set up an exhibition,
Yeah.
right? That's my takeaway from it. Is I don't know who would win. And I played in France a couple times. I played in America most of the rest of the time. Uh, I
Maybe
I
there
would
should
love
be
to
a side
see.
event for the next
Well,
Jazzy, I mean, if they.
well,
Dank.
well, I think the event's like not like it's not just sprung upon them, right? Like it's not like we're gonna go to their house tomorrow and be like, all right, fucker, sit down. Like we're running the set right now, right? Like it's at an event like, hey, like this tournament's coming up, this is the exhibition we're gonna run. Like, if you accept and you know you can't put forth the effort you need to like train or whatever you need for it, like that's your fault. That's, I mean, it is what it is, you know. Like,
Yeah, as
yeah,
far as circumstances go, I'm not like, sweating it, right? We all have our circumstances. Everyone will be like, if you care about this, you'll prepare for it. If you don't, then you don't, and that's fine. Obviously, the logistics are the major problem here. Like, if you wanted to run an America versus France 10v10, and you got to like get 10 Americans to go to Europe or 10 French to come to America, and the likelihood of that ever happening is low. So it's
Zero.
all, you know, it's all just talking. But I mean, it would be
Put it on
cool.
yeah,
Fightcade.
Play it on
yeah.
Fightcade, the real game.
I mean, what's the average age of a third strike player? Let's just be real here. Like,
I don't know,
all of
35.
30,
yeah, 35, right? Mid 30s. Like, look at Jazzy top 16. What was the age of that? Like, who was the youngest player? Like Resolve, right? And I think besides that, everyone was. We're fucking up there, boys.
19 to 50.
Yeah, we're paying taxes and raising kids and careers and all that. Like, all of us kind of play when we can, and that's the best we can do.
Old
So
man game.
yeah,
Super Turbo, those guys are really old.
those are real old. Yeah, too old.
They get older. We're not the oldest, but we're getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's actually one of the interesting changes that appears to be occurring, maybe slower than people would have expected, but there is a changing of the guard in some ways. There's still the best players, your titans of sorts, but a lot of them, real life has caught up. They're not around to play as much. They may become one every 3 major tournaments. But there is a huge growth of 17, 15, 19, 21, 22. Like there was a time not that long ago where like B-Tran was the youngest guy. Now he's like 46. Like
Yeah.
these guys, it doesn't, but
I
there's like
remember that.
children and they're way better than I was when I was 22.
Yeah.
And thankfully I'm out and I don't have to deal with them. So you guys have fun with that. There's going to be a moment where one of these kids does something crazy and goes super deep. And it could be this year at Jazzy. I don't know. Last year was really only Resolve in terms of like the juniors. But there's a bunch of them out there and they're getting better. I was blown away by the quality of the casuals at Jazzy 3, and I heard from Ray that Jazzy 4, everybody is leveled up. The country in general is just so much better than it was. Not even that long ago, 5-7 years ago.
Yeah, sounds right to me. I think the average level is higher. I mean, we were talking about on your podcast, and we didn't really go into it that much, but back when we played on OE, right, when I started and we were playing on OE, I mean the level of play at that time was so bad. It was
So bad.
everyone was inventing new ways to play this game, and they were mostly terrible.
Everyone
You know-
was inventing ways to get the highest rank.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And now I go on Fightcade to play a random C rank. They seem like they know what they're doing. That is not
they're
what
doing.
2011 was. That is not what 2014 was.
I feel like you're calling blood urine now, and that's not right.
Okay, that's a stretch, but that's fine.
Grimlock.
Lance, I was thinking about this a lot, and what I've come to realize is that, sure, my experience on Fightcade is everybody knows how to play, but I'm also playing guys that I know. I'm playing guys I've heard of. I'm playing B ranks. There is a million D versus D rank matches going on that I'm not watching, and I'm certainly not
Sure.
participating in. So there may actually be this huge underbelly of trash that I'm just not seeing.
We're just
And like when I was on OE was just like you go to ranked and it didn't have any skill based matchmaking. It was just who's ever there. So maybe I was just more kind of privy to the garbage.
that seems possible. Yeah, because it really was a truly random ranking system back then, right? And now you watch a sea of D ranks playing each other. You're not gonna click in any of
I'm
those.
never gonna click on that. It's gonna burn my eyes.
Yeah. So maybe it's still happening. Maybe nothing's changed.
Maybe nothing's changed. But the
Um,
scene in general, I think, is very strong right now.
Yeah.
The passion and just the amount of opportunity. Jazzy has done a tremendous job of kind of helping pull Third Strike out of the dark ages, bring it back into the front, and the quality of play, the quality of information sharing. I mean, the Discord servers and the YouTube videos and people. I think the integration with Japan as well through Twitter, have direct access to the Japanese ideas. They throw a combo or something out, and immediately you can see it. And with Google Translate, if you want, you can talk to them. So it's a good time to be a Third Strike player.
100%. 100%. All right. What else do you boys want to talk about? I got one beer left.
I think okay. This is something. I mean, I'm dwelling on this at this point. No one cares about this like me. I would like to share a part of my Third Strike life with the chat. For you young people, this is before your time. I'm gonna share my screen. Okay.
All right, that's the end of the stream.
This is the Street Fighter 3 Online Edition YouTube channel. This is a
Oh
bastion
my lord.
of what
Is
I
that
came
can
up
we
in.
watch one?
Sure. Yeah.
Go rated by most popular. See what has the most views.
Okay.
Oh
yeah.
yeah, that's a good point.
So I just want to point out the titles here, right? We've got Nate Stoppable Booty.
What it was
Good
all
job,
about
Nate.
winning. So for those who don't know, when you played on OE, at the end of the match, you could save the replay, and then you could actually, for many years, and they ended this, thankfully, but you could upload it to this replay channel through the Xbox, which was actually really impressive technology. And
That's
what
true.
people used it
For
people
its
only
time.
used it to be like, I beat that motherfucker. Look, it's on the internet forever.
Yeah, I mean, just with the titles here. Nate Stoppable, you
Nate,
mad?
just stop.
Nate, just stop,
Nate,
LOL.
Oh my god.
This,
USA
was-
kick ass, dude. Hell yeah.
all right,
9
let's
years
pick the
ago
most-
was the last one. Dark Side Opening by Jeff.
Of course. All right, let's take a look.
Yeah, we gotta see. Did he get raped or did he just lose?
Let's fight.
Oh, what was that other thing there, Lance?
Okay.
Hmm?
Okay, nice sweep, nice sweep.
Oh, lots of Tatsus here.
Look at, oh no, I
Oh.
love
This is
it.
pretty good.
This is quality. This is France versus US. Kokujin versus Kuni. I used
Oh,
to love
Lord.
those old YouTube videos when it
Holy.
was two scrubs playing and they would mislabel it as like RX versus Kuroda and it would have so many views.
Jesus. This quality is like
Look how small the bars are. Look how small Dudley's corkscrew bar is and how small Denjin is. This is before the patch.
Yeah.
So for a while, the bars on OE were actually smaller. So like Yon was even better. And then of course you
Yeah.
had the scaling issues, but they had to patch that at one point.
Yeah.
These are micro penis bars.
This was so this was Third Strike. This was Third Strike when I started the game. This is how.
please don't get hit
Holy
my
fuck.
God.
Oh no.
Of course, he got raped by Jeff. He didn't carry that.
Oh my god.
Darkside Phil, you suck. All right, go watch another one. This is the best. I'll watch this all night.
I already closed it. Yeah. So that was a Third Strike that we grew up playing. I feel like the level is much higher now, and it's much harder to get started in this game because you could just play people like that all day back then. I started. I'm not good at video games. I was not particularly good at Third Strike for a really long time.
You're still not.
Yeah.
Yeah, did something change? I haven't
And
heard.
OE is the
I've been out of
result.
the game for a little bit.
OE
Yeah.
is the result of when you force people to pay to play online.
Yeah, this was the stronger one, right? Like 360 OE was the one you had to pay money. This was the elites.
Pay for that, yeah.
The elites of the elites.
Otherwise, you had to drop down into Oblivion and join Denges and Carlitos, 7327, something like that.
Yeah.
I never played on those older online versions. I know you and Kang were like really deep into that, but I always
Yeah, we
figured
played
that
everything.
those were the actual good players because you guys got through all the hurdles of setting that garbage up. But that was probably really challenging.
I forget who was a good player on PSN.
Oh no, no, I'm talking about like 2F, what a 2DF.
Oh, 2DF?
2FA or
Oh,
2DF and
I remember Kick-Ass Guy. Kang, you remember Kick-Ass Guy?
Yeah.
Kick-Ass Guy. Who else used to play on 2DF? I know Therapist used to actually play on 2DF, but then he stopped.
Shinsei was on too, yeah.
Shinsei was on there, yeah. Henry was on there. Chiredi was on there. Who else was on there? Golden Lion. Oh my God!
Golden Lion. I never heard of Golden Lion.
If you've never
Golden
heard
Lion,
of Golden
come to
Lion,
Jazzy. I don't know Golden Lion. Who did he play?
Lion.
Yellow Makoto.
Played
Golden
Lion,
Lion,
that's who he
Golden
played.
Lion. Perfect. I like when the name matches the character and the color.
Yeah. Every time he won or every time he did something that was like relatively cool, he would always type in lion like in the chat. Doesn't matter what it was. You would see
Golden
capital letters
Lion.
lion like throughout the entire it was just
Dude,
ridiculous. But he,
Golden
he
Lion
kept
versus
doing it.
Yaz. First to 10.
Yeah. Good lord. Katie Alpha. Yeah. But yeah, there were a whole bunch of players that were on there, but then it was like the little transition between like 2DF and GGPO. So it was like the two factions. And of course me and Kang we were just like joining both factions because we wanted to play everybody. But then, you know, yeah, I personally like the like 2DF the way that you were able to like it was like recording your replays, I think it was, something like that. Um but yeah, it was a nice little touch the way that worked, so
Yeah, the Third Strike
Good
back then
idea.
felt more mysterious to me, and maybe it was just my experience level. But I would get on GGPO, right? And I was playing Metric, and I was like, oh my god, this guy's a god. Like to me, the level, I was like, oh, GGPO is a different level from Xbox. That these are where the true gods play. And everything's perspective, right? But there was such a general terrible level that you could just immerse yourself in on Xbox Live, which I very much enjoyed. Right? This was Dan ran through these people in ranked. He became the number one Yun in the world. Dude, so high.
dude so high.
I remember I had just started in 2011. Like I was saying earlier, I'm not good at video games. I'm not good at Street Fighter, and I finally I was playing like Elena on DSL, wireless internet, 150 ping Alaska connections, and I'm just spamming EX overheads, hitting people with EX overheads and unseeable connections, and I finally got my win
Brutal.
rate of 50% against the level of play we just displayed. And I was like, guys, I made it. I'm good at this game now.
You won.
Yeah. And that's not a thing you can on Fightcade. It's not so mysterious. So you see the S ranks, right? Oh, though there's EXO and Nika. Everyone's watching that too. S ranks going. I mean, they're A ranks right now, But
S rank, excuse me.
oh, you're S rank again. Okay, so only Kang's an A rank. Um, but it was more, I felt like that was a wild, wild west almost of online play, where like just the randoms finally got a hold of it, and there we were just duking it out.
Now, the Wild Wild West of online was when it first came out, when it was first cracked,
Hmm.
and they introduced it onto Kylira. And I remember the first time because I always heard about like in the Shoryuken forums how like Kang and like Fran and a couple of other players would have like these mini lobbies. And the cool
Mhm.
thing about Kylira was that you can join one game and all the players join that same game and you can like rotate. You can
Oh,
rotate whoever plays. So it was like I remember the first time I joined I think it was like Fran, Kang, myself and someone else. I forgot who it was. But then I joined it. I forgot who I played. I think I played like Ken or Yun at the time. But then like they just kept on rotating it and like sometimes it was funny because other people would just take their turn and like they wouldn't care. They would just like control it and just like take their turn. But that's actually a function I wish we had these days because it's like imagine like a nice little group like of like A rank players like playing against each other, like rotating.
Mhm.
yeah.
Not like the lobby status, but it's like because with this it was like that. You didn't have to wait like 5 minutes for the next match. So
Street Fighter 6 does something really cool where you actually can have 6 or 8 people in there and they can all break off and play each other and then come back and switch who they're playing. I was very impressed with that. And then there's an online training mode. I don't know if Fightcade has training mode where you can both play. It didn't when I stopped playing it, but that would be a really cool addition.
yeah, that would be nice. Like the training mode where both of you play at the same time. That would be nice.
The tools are out there now, the information's out there, the quality of play is much higher, and if you want to get good at this game, you can do it. You're really only held back by your willingness to ask questions and to just try. I played for like 6 years and didn't get any better because no one ever told me like don't do that.
Yeah, the resources now available. Like we're talking, of course, footage, right? And there's Fightcade where all these players are available, but also just there's discords now, right? You can be terrible and you can just hop on a Discord, just start asking 1,000 questions. You'll eventually find a player who's like pretty good who can answer, point you in the right direction.
Unless Kang derails it, but
Yeah,
Whoa.
does that from time to time. Um, I remember just like I kind of just lucked into finding SRK. Um,
Igloo Bob.
Igloo Bob. Yeah, I remember like the way I got on SRK was, um, So I had started playing Online Edition, and I thought this is the greatest game ever. I'm above a 50% win rate. I'm amazing at this game, and this game's really good. And so I just searched it, and it was like, and 5-star Kobe Bryant 24 was on SRK, and he was like, "This board is so fucking terrible. Derek Neal is a complete idiot who
Oh,
sold us
remember
a
the
pile of
Derek Neal
trash."
hate?
Yeah,
Dude, the
the
Derek
Derek
Neal
Neal.
hatred was so funny to me.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't know who this guy is. But he's a fucking idiot, and I'm going to make an SRK account to just tell him how dumb he is.
For those who don't know, Derek Neal worked. He was the producer for the OE version at Iron Galaxy, and a lot of the hardcore arcade players, when it came out, were very disappointed because it's not arcade perfect.
Many things were
Right.
promised. Many things were not delivered.
Yeah, yeah. And so yeah, I ended up making an account to argue with Yi. I made this long post. He didn't read it. Of course, like who's the fuck's gonna read Igloo Bob's first SRK post telling you how wrong you are about Third Strike? But anyway, that's like how I kind of got sucked into the community with like complete accident because I just didn't know enough to not know that I don't know anything. I guess is basically the gist of it. Um,
The Dunning Kruger effect.
yeah, it really was. I was the Dunning Kruger. I thought I have a 50% win rate on Xbox Live, guys, with my Elena.
I was on Shoryuken as well, but I was just a lurker. I posted maybe 10, 12 times, but I would just watch. I would refresh who are the best players on OE, and just try to find my
Trying to
name.
find your name. Search
It's
dude
just
so
very-
high.
It
I
very
remember-
rarely came up.
I remember first looking for local tournaments like in New York, and then looking at the Chinatown Fair threads. All you see was like Frenzy, like 78 or something like I forgot what Frankie's name was back then, but it was Frenzy something, and he would always type in all caps and say, "Yo, X-Rated is talking shit about Nika. Yo, they're gonna play a money match first to 5 next time they come out." And I'm like, "What the hell is this guy talking about? Like, I don't even know who this guy is." Next thing you know, I come to find out it's Frankie who's like talking shit because him and X-Rated were like really close at the time, I guess. And yeah, X-Rated was like this oral player who was really good. So it was just funny
It's
how
just funny to think because that was probably so long ago. You were in your early 20s.
I was actually in my teens. I was 18, I
Yeah.
believe. 18, 19, yeah. So
Like coming up in that world compared to there's so many 18, 19-year-olds. Like I started at 16, growing up, learning how to play in that environment, just so radically different from these days.
yeah, I was so amazed when Kang started making the ranking battles. I was like, "Oh yeah, let me just join these and I can try to win." Next thing you know, I struggled for the next like 2 years.
And look where you are now because
Hardly
What a-
because of you.
what a mistake that was.
Yeah. Hardly because of you. Although it's part of the legend that me and Kang actually joined on a team in my first tournament, my first major tournament for teams.
And you guys won,
What'd you guys-
right? That's what you were telling
we
us.
did.
Yeah,
And-
that's
and
great.
we
I've
won,
never
yeah.
seen Kang win a team tournament. I didn't think it was possible.
Obviously because of my expertise at the time.
Yeah, like
What
you have
was
to
the
be
team?
so insanely skilled to drag Kang's rotten corpse to a tournament win. It's almost impossible.
No, I forget how that happened. I think Rockman took us through the entire thing or something like that.
That just kind of
Rockman,
checks out.
was he Urian?
Yeah,
he was
he was,
Urian, yeah, he was Green
he was
Urian.
Maryland, Virginia Urian.
I remember him.
Yeah, it was and then EXO finally exercised his Justin curse. He ended up beating Justin in that tournament. And that was
Wow.
just funny.
I don't remember it.
I remember that. I'll never forget that. The moment I saw you hit him with a cross-up dive kick, I was like, "Oh, that's it. It's over."
Stick to a top tier whore.
Chosen asked about the GGPO ranking. That was a great
Yes,
ranking.
well, it's still up, I think, right?
It is. I just found it. I'll stream it.
But
this is really
should
important
definitely be shared. This is
Yeah,
super
this needs to
important.
go in the episode. All right. So this was the official GGPO class rankings of Third Strike players, right?
Oh my god, I forgot all
Do
about
you remember
this.
this? Oh, this is great. And then the description of what each rank means. That's my favorite part.
Oh, where is that? Is that even on here?
I think it's on. It might be at the bottom of this.
Okay, so let's check the bottom.
This is actually historically accurate too, because Yuki's at the top.
It's
gone.
on this page. You'll find it. You'll find it. We'll go through them first, and then.
Okay, so obviously at the top we have Yuki, right?
Now, what year do you think this was made? 2006, 2008.
No, I was on this. So me and B-Tran and Katie Alpha are all on this list.
This
So
was not ELO based. Sorry.
This is 2014, 2015, I think.
Do you
So
know
you
who
got
made it?
Yuki right at the top, Nika. It's kind of funny to see the rankings like compared to now. Like, okay, Nika and Hadouken and Agumon. Henrin's on
Harmonaz is
there.
better than Kang. Are you?
Yeah,
Really?
definitely, that checks out. Baphael, of course, an A. Harmonaz, Kang, of course.
And
The
look
bottom
at
of the
who
A's, that kind of checks out.
and some of these names are still around. Like I don't know how to pronounce it, but Korko Texan,
Yeah,
Ego
Yeah,
player's
yeah.
still on Fightcade.
he's
Yeah.
been
Uh,
to Ray's house.
Corco
Texan.
came to my house. He is a real
He
human
plays on
being.
keyboard.
He exists.
Tenken
And
Sojiro. Who
I
was
think
that?
Hadouken is still around as
Tenken
well.
Sojiro.
Yeah, who was that?
He was I want to say like Florida area. Um,
That wasn't like
I used
Sandy
to
Pax or
love-
something?
no, it wasn't Sandy Pax.
Oh, hold that.
Priminal,
Hmm,
remember the Ibuki from the UK?
yeah, really nice guy
Um,
actually.
Yeah.
Very young guy. I
Oh,
remember,
kick-ass
but
guy.
He doesn't play anymore.
Kick-ass guy. I don't know why this has been stuck. I've told this story multiple times, but I don't know why this has been stuck in my head for 10 years. But I just logged in. This is one of my early sessions at GGPO when I was still like with a sense of wonder. And Kick-ass guy was playing someone, and he lost. And the other guy said, "Kick-ass guy," more like "kicked-ass guy." Like that's amazing.
Nice. Hold
He
that.
set himself up
And
for
then
that one.
Taoism.
How is
Taoism
him Bisu?
Oh yeah, Bisu, yeah.
Bisu.
Yeah, Kenny.
And they
Yeah,
only
Kenny
have him
K-Rank.
as a B rank. K-rank.
Mm-hmm. Genji's
Yeah,
B rank.
Genji.
Yeah.
Cruz.
J- was JDL-san, was that Shinche or is that a different person?
No, that was
Shinji.
Shinji. Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Number one Goki metric.
Yeah.
No, yeah, number one Goki. Oh my god.
Darren.
Jaywalk.
Darren.
Who? Justin Wong B rank. Yeah, that checks out. That's
Definitely-
probably correct.
definitely.
That
Checks
makes
out.
a lot of sense. Wait, is that Osugi?
Is that the same one?
Oh,
Yeah,
Sugi.
Japan.
Oh,
Osugi.
Tsugi.
It is. Wow, he's been around that long, huh?
Mhm.
Katie Alpha,
Osugi
Dine,
he
C
rage
rank.
quit.
Who else here? Opio.
Third
You remember
Noobster.
Opio?
Yeah.
Third Noobster, the Urian combo video guy.
Mm-hmm.
9/11 rules. Oh my god.
9/11 rules. Yeah. What a name. Oh, Haas. You got Haas and Muzik here.
Hold on, hold it for Ray because he's never seen. I don't think he's ever seen this before.
Holy shit. Okay. All right.
For a Texan, that's really deep.
Yeah, that one hurts. I mean, Ray's not from New York, but still, he felt more passionate than anyone. But, yeah.
The
I got,
Rage, B-Tran.
Who's
You got
this
the four
Lance
gods
Third?
here all in a row. You got Lance Third, DeRage, B-Tran, and Bobo de Homo. Those were classically the four best players.
Bobo de Homo. He really brought Remy to a different level in the United States.
Oh my god, these
Yaku
names.
Scrub.
dude.
Oh my
Ken in
god.
Black.
Ken in Black, yeah. J-Star. I remember J-Star Lee.
Lee. J-Star. I believe he went to Cooperation Cup. He's like a Boston Remy. Still plays
Oh,
on
I
Fightcade
think
sometimes.
that's true. Yeah.
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 Oh,
Night-
Night in D class. Oh, brutal.
Doze.
Oh, now we're
yeah,
dropping
he
off.
was
Let's see if,
Puerto
I'm
Rican.
surprised if any of these people are still left. Kismet has a great YouTube channel. I don't know.
I don't
Yeah.
know how good he is, but apparently he's D rank.
Bagra from
It's gotta be
Germany.
at least-
I played him before.
Too Nasty.
Too
You guys
Nasty.
remember Too Nasty?
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
that was a name that came up a lot.
You would be like, who wants to get fucked?
It was a huge troll. And then Redemption.
Oh, yeah.
She
Redemption was
rocked.
in the French chat this last weekend.
Yeah.
He was the one talking shit about Cartola the entire time.
And then Daigo Umehara.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that
He
checks
ranked.
out.
E-class.
When he moved to Singapore, and that after winning SBO, he moved to Singapore. Forgot how
You
to
guys
play.
need the chat needs to understand the legend between Diego Umejuaras.
Yep.
Yeah.
You got Spore here. Remember Spore? He would be like, remember he used to post on SRK like, how did this happen? And he would just post a screenshot of like someone's limb getting clipped. And he made like 10 of those. And then
Airstrike quizzes.
yeah, and then Yuki eventually responded like, "Hey, can you please contribute something more useful than this?" And he never posted again.
Let's see if anyone came out of E rank and won the Jazzy finale. No, it doesn't look like it.
Looks like we got
Pizza Diddle.
Lucifer
Pizza-
here at the
Pizza
bottom.
Diddle. I
Oh
don't know
my
if
God,
Pizza Diddle
Lucifer.
had the best come up from E rank. He won a Jazzy event in Colorado. I mean, that's very impressive.
That's true.
Damn.
But
Wow.
Bobo de Homo.
He, yeah, had he kept playing,
Bobo de Homo versus 9/11 rules, first to 10.
Oh my god.
Go up and see if you can find what these ranks mean, because someone broke down what they actually.
Oh my god, I just saw Sean Legacy. Oh
right
my
there, yeah.
god.
John's legacy.
well, that link doesn't go anywhere. I think what they mean might just be gone. So yeah, we'll never
It
know.
was talking about how S rank could only be achieved by Japanese and Yuki.
Who are the
Okay.
contributors?
What's up?
Who are the contributors on the right? List of contributors?
Oh, where is that? RVN.
What is that?
RVN was the first person to leak the Corona DVDs, if I remember.
Yeah.
I found him.
Yeah. Deku Scrub. Oh my lord.
Click
Yeah, I
around
remember
on
that
this page. There's got to be more.
More names
What do you-
to jog our memory.
No, but
Mr. Roboto.
There's links and stuff that go to other pages. There's like people have their own individual pages. I'd be surprised if Nika and Exa don't have their own pages. Because
Let's
like if you click on the right, like if you go
let's
up and
click
you
on
see
my
how-
name. Let's see if that leads anywhere. No, I don't think so. And I think I had a page. I think someone made me a page where all they posted on there was me losing to Cookie at Evo.
Oh, I've seen that page. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great
That was
page.
great.
I think I have a wiki too.
But they rank someone's manners. What is this? Wait, if you go up, it says manners out of 10.
Oh,
Where is
this
Nika's
that?
manners.
Manners.
No one ranked Nika's manners.
Oh,
Wait, click player's name for detailed info.
I see. Yeah, I clicked them. Nothing happened. So I think that doesn't work anymore.
For you? When you scroll up after you click yours, nothing happens.
Mm-mm.
Wait, click on Yuki's. He has to have something about manners.
Nothing.
What's that mean?
It means like his manners are 10 out of 10, unlike somebody's over here.
Yeah, anyway, that was the old days of online Third Strike. Long may it rain.
Can someone make a new list for this? I would love to see it.
Yeah, it's the FightK2 ranking list.
Yeah, but I want
Yeah.
the wiki. I want the manners rating.
It's Queed 26 times.
Yeah, and like half of them are Exo's alts.
Yeah, S class can only be the Japanese, Exos alts, and Queege's 20 accounts as well.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh man.
Okay, do we have anything else to talk about?
That was a good
Covered
trip.
it all.
Well, for all you kids out there, you missed some fun times, but you can develop your own with FightK2 these days.
This is true.
So
Yeah, just say some outlandish shit in the chat. Make
yeah, you
people
can make
hate
a
you?
name for yourself. Make a
Yeah.
name for yourself.
you can be on a wiki someday too.
Just say
Fightcade
lion.
1 was different. You could say some wild shit. Fightcade 2 is actually pretty strict. People get banned all the time.
Yeah.
Get muted. Fightcade
Oh.
1 was some of the most. It was 4chan with Third Strike attached to it. Like it wasn't. It was like the Third Strike was an afterthought. It was just the racism. That was what everybody was really.
Oh, that's what everyone was there in the chat
Yeah, that's what they were worried about.
Crazy.
Envy, I'll come out to the next one. I heard that they put a bounty on my head on the last tournament, so
for. Wow, exciting! Next New York Monthly, we're gonna see Nika KO.
yeah. Well, they announced that they put a bounty of $50 on my head the last time.
$50. That's a
Oh.
pretty high bounty.
Yeah,
Red Dead Redemption over here.
it's like John Wick over here. Increase the contract size. But yeah, I told him I'll join the next one.
Nice.
What events are you
get the
guys?
money if you win, right?
Well,
What happened?
besides Dan, what events are you guys planning on traveling to? Are you guys going to travel to any events at all, or are you just going to show up at the last second and try to qualify? Silence from everyone.
Yeah, I really don't know. For me, it's just gonna depend on a lot of real life stuff. So we'll see. Maybe I'll go to a lot or nothing. So one of those two.
I
You'll
hope.
be at Frosty, I imagine, right? You got to go to Frosty.
Frosty would be cool, if I can swing it,
It's probably coming up very soon.
Yeah, I'm going to
like late
Frosty.
January. Yeah,
Yeah.
Ray's going to Frosty.
Yeah, I'm dragging Yuki with me, I think, and then some of DFW, Max and Fuck. I don't know who else from
You're
DFW.
dragging Yuki's going to Frosty? That's sick.
Yeah, I'm making him go, dude. I don't think he's happy about it, but it's cool.
I'm gonna
That's really awesome.
not be able to say I'm the only Frosty champion in Dallas anymore. There's gonna be a new sheriff in town.
Yeah, Lance, you have a hotel book for that too, right?
I do. I have a hotel booked. I can cancel it if I need to.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it really will depend on like how things look in January. Like if I go, nothing for me this year is set in stone.
Well,
We'll
since
see.
Yuki's going, I don't really think it makes a lot of sense. Why don't you look for another tournament?
Yeah, maybe I can get on a flight somewhere. See where I can.
I always hate it when that happens. I'm sure Nika has the different view of like a really good player is going to be there. I'm going to go beat him. Like you always struck me as the type of guy who was never like frustrated that someone else. For me, I'm like, fuck, that guy's
You,
going to be
you
there.
check the sign up list, like, oh my
Fuck.
god, Frankie's there. Fucking Christ,
Oh,
never mind.
no.
I did that to poor Big Nasty.
Oh
yeah.
yeah, so that was a big, So what year was that? So that was that was the
3.
Chun Li year, right? So Big Nasty is traveling to all these events, he's losing to Chun Li. Chun Li's a great character.
Yeah, Ahmed.
He gets second every time, and then I'm thinking like, okay, Houston, because it was Houston, right? There was a Houston auto qualifier. It's my
No, that was Dallas. It was at Arlington.
Dallas. Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. You come to, and I'm thinking, oh, it's like Big Nasty Yuki Grand Finals, right?
The funny thing was that Big Nasty actually beat
Yuki.
Yuki.
He did
The
beat Yuki
tournament.
that year, which
Yuki
is insane.
Makoto.
Big Nasty is very skilled.
Yeah.
We're gonna. By the way, we will be having Big Nasty as our guest this week.
Sunday.
This weekend.
Sunday.
Monday. Yeah. So tune in.
Nice plug. Nice plug.
Yeah. Thanks. Very organic. So
I'll
yeah,
never forget it though. Big Nasty hit him with a low short, and Yuki parried it.
Yep.
And then
Yep.
as soon as he got parried, Yuki was like, "Oh fuck!" Like he was like,
already
"Ah!"
He knew
Yeah, he
immediately.
already knew. Then boom, he got caught with the 720.
That
And,
year for Big Nasty was the year that COVID made it so it was only auto qualifiers. So it was like super painful. But if he does what he did that year, this year, he'll absolutely make it in points. I mean, if there were points, he would have had more points than anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely the toughest thing. Like to not get in after placing second all those tournaments.
Yeah.
It's like,
All over the country.
and then even in the last chance qualifier too, like he barely lost, and damn, whoops.
Well, we'll be talking to Caesar about that on Sunday, bringing up these repressed
Painful
hurtful
memories.
Yeah.
hey, let's talk about that really sad year.
You should bring up that time he red parried Lance and then did Gigas.
That still gets posted on Twitter.
That's
You know,
my-
like
That's a super sick clip. I had forgotten how impressive that was. He red parried the second hit with no help. It was way better than the Daigo parry.
yeah, it's weird. So you guys sent me a video of like it's somehow been combined where I'm like, so Big Nasty parries me, and somehow Justin reacts to this and says this won't happen to me. So somehow my legend has now been combined with Justin's as the Chun Li's that got parried in exciting situations.
My favorite
Yep.
part of that whole
From what I
clip
remember-
is like once it happens, Lance just kind of like looks at the cab with his hands on his hips, just like, all right, that fucking sucked. I didn't see that coming.
Pretty sure-
Like,
It's like
Before
it's like that
one, there was
Tom
another-
Hanks posture
yeah, just
Oh, thanks.
from Forrest Gump. He just
Lance, you've been on the receiving end of a few of those from Big Nasty. Wasn't there a previous one, another red parry or big parry?
mm,
I don't remember, but I'm sure. I mean, Big Nasty, I had never played Big Nasty. I did my research, right? I was like, have I ever played this guy before? And I found that we had played one time on Fightcade 1 in like 2017 or something. But we never played besides that. I didn't really know who he was. And I moved down to Texas, and I thought, I'm going to go to all the Texas monthlies if like, I have a good chance at all of them. And then I just start encountering Big Nasty everywhere. And I don't know if he, I don't know if we can call it a rivalry or not, but we played a lot in like, high placing Texas matches. Then have played at Frosty in a fucking different region multiple times in like top 3. I've played him a lot now. I mean, for me, it's like an ongoing rivalry. It's weird to call like a Chun-Li Hugo match
you
a
actually played
rivalry.
the qualifier too, the auto qualifier. Yeah.
Yeah, we played at Frosty, the one that Dan won. I don't remember.
The When I Game of Dreams, you
Yep.
played him too.
Yeah, played him a Game of Dreams. Yeah, we split sets there. He definitely beat me a monthly. Like he put me in losers and knocked me out once. We played a lot. That's a match. It's not fun. I don't think it's fun for either of us. I mean, he's communicated to me that it's not fun. Like he's like, yeah, I'm so tired after I play you. I'm like, yeah, I don't
Playing Lance
no
is never
interest.
fun. But that's one of those matchups where it's so easy as a spectator to be like, "Oh my god, it's Chun versus Hugo! Like
Yeah.
Chun
Yeah.
should win so easily." It's the same with like Hugo Yun, where they're actually very difficult matches to win. Hugo is extremely dangerous, especially
Thank you.
Big Nasty. One touch and you're dead.
I would say, I mean, so Hayao says it's 6-4 Chun Li. I think that's
Yeah.
right. I mean, it's a match where everyone thinks it's like, oh, it must be 8-2 Chun Li, right?
They
Yeah.
always say in the chat 8-2, 8-2,
8-2, yeah, yeah.
It's
It's not
and Young
8-2.
Hugo is not 8-2 either.
But that being said, Chun Li wins for sure, 6-4 at least.
Yeah.
And then also, like, it requires way more skill for the Hugo to like make that a competitive match than the Chun Li. So like, I don't want to like say, like, oh, I'm downplaying.
I mean, obviously, it requires
that's the
more
question.
skill. That's every matchup.
Yeah. No, I'm not trying to like downplay the matchup or say like, oh, like Big Nasty is insane, very skilled player, like one of the best American
Unbelievably
players.
skilled.
And I
had the
don't
chance
enjoy
to play
playing
Big
him.
Nasty. I played him in Street Fighter 2 just as sort of like a joke in Jazzy 1, and he's just damn good at fighting games.
Yeah. He's like really good at what grow, right? I
He's
think
just good at fighting games.
good fighting game player.
So what's that
Um,
matchup that you guys think is really skewed, aside from what was it, Hugo versus Chun?
You're saying
Oh,
like
like
one of
the
the worst
worst matchup?
matchups?
That was like really skewed from your
I think-
personal experience.
I think Q versus Urian is beyond free.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like Chun Li Oro, Chun Li Alex are really bad. Yeah, I mean Chun Li shouldn't really lose those. I feel like.
It's always funny to see, like you see like the lower tier players, like they pick these low tier characters and then they excel with them. They change the matchups entirely. Like Big Nasty, for example. That's funny to see.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, I mean at this point, like he went through that whole year of playing Chun Li's in every tournament. Like I imagine he's done a lot of lab work in this matchup. He's eventually just going to be like the guy that the Hugo just beats every Chun Li player, right? I mean that eventually is the singularity we're headed to.
The singularity.
Yeah. The big nasty singularity.
no.
Yeah, he's really good. Look forward to never playing him again. Hopefully, maybe I can just duck him for the rest of my life.
So you end up you thinking of joining the online one, the online qualifiers?
To see who. I mean, sure. The problem is there's 2 slots. So if there are the 4 online gods, we all know their names. We do not speak them. But the 4 online gods who, if they enter, then my chances of winning are low. Plenty, So if you guys enter, I don't take a waste
You're
of my
talking about
evening.
Bobo de Homo?
Yeah, Bobo the Homo, Detran 1132, The Rage,
9/11
And my-
rules.
9/11 rules.
9/11 rules. Yeah, those are the guys.
That's my new
This guy up-
Fightcade name.
This guy above me over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Kang, obviously. Yeah, Kang,
I know
Nika,
that.
Neiman.
I'm pretty
Enron.
confident the online tournaments are going to be the most stacked out of any of these events.
That's what I'm looking forward to. Like I really hope that like, you see like Neiman versus Big Game James or something.
Yeah.
Or like Dagger G versus like Everdread or something. Imagine that would be
Oh my
ridiculous.
god.
That would be
I
terrible.
haven't heard Everdread. I don't know if Everdread's still playing. Is he? I haven't heard from him. Yet.
He played like sparingly, like he played like once or twice, like but somebody in the chat was saying that he was playing in Florida these days. So
Oh wow, he's not in Maine anymore.
doesn't appear so.
Yeah, the online tournaments are gonna be brutal. Absolutely brutal.
Yeah, that's
So.
going to be hard.
I'm
You
gonna
should-
play in
you
them
should
just
get-
to fuck it. May as well play and support, right? Like I have nothing to risk. Like I literally wander up to
Yeah,
my
like
PC
you're not
and play.
playing, you're not paying for anything, you're not
There's no
going
traveling, hotel, none of
Yeah.
that. Like I walk upstairs.
You only have to wait 11 hours until the tournament's over.
This is
You
true.
got to pick up poker like Kang. That's the only way you can do these online tournaments.
Let's play World
And
of
wow.
Yeah, World of Warcraft in between sets, dude.
Kang is probably playing poker right now.
Those were my yesteryears.
Kang drops 3 brilliant points and then just sits back. It's unbelievable. Where you been? You're the champ.
I'm playing my gotcha game.
I was thinking of playing. I was going to play throughout this entire podcast as well, but I didn't play.
No,
you the
you
attention you deserve.
you guys are carrying the conversation so brilliantly. I have nothing to add about GGPO era or
You have the most to add.
That's true. You were
Like,
You have
labeled
the most out of
the king of
everybody.
GGPO. That was your official title.
You have the legendary first to 50 set with Mika.
Yeah, that, that
Oh
was
yeah,
fun.
yeah.
It was so hard when I watched that the first time I was a kid, and I was like, I can't keep track of this. I didn't know you could do the arcade score, but there was no like overlay or anything.
Oh, right, yeah.
No, yeah, but we just played that long, and yeah, I forgot how. I don't even think we could count. I
I
think we
said it
just
as a
played.
joke, and Nika agreed, and then we just did it.
And it was like a bunch of different characters too. It wasn't just
Yeah, very character roulette.
Led to a series of first attempts that have lasted for the next decade.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, guess who wins the majority of them? Not
Exo
me.
Yang.
Not me,
The
because
king
I'm
of,
not the king of online.
king of online.
Exo Yang's very strong.
Yeah,
Very
because you
strong.
want to type in the chat and lag me.
That is true. That is just factual. I've seen the screenshots. I've seen the evidence.
The screenshot. Oh my god.
In the old days, people, like so I remember like GGPO days, people would come to SRK, right? And they would be talking, GGPO players would talk shit about each other on SRK. I don't like they needed an audience, I guess. And, someone was like, oh, he sucks, he's so free. And the other guy would respond and he would post a screenshot, because back then the replays weren't so, I don't know if there were
You
replays,
couldn't,
but
you couldn't save them, though.
no, so they would just post a screenshot of the score, to
Oh.
like Lewis Cipher posts a screenshot. Alex is taunting. He's up 8-4 on some guy, and he's like, "Yeah, what do you think about that one?" Now the screenshots aren't like that. The screenshots are just we see Kang spamming all the letters that were lagging the game, so we know what's going on here.
I
Yeah.
typed them very quickly.
Yeah, and obviously by typing them very quickly, my low short super didn't come out.
Interesting. Very factual. Well, I mean, when you're the champ, you start feeling a lot of pressure.
You
I
do what you
think.
want. When you're
I mean, the pressure to always win once you're the champ is so high. Kang had to do what he had to do because Kang gets like 10 spectators on every time he plays on Fightcade. So like those 10 people might think that he was washed if he doesn't beat these online
for
first
me
attempts.
when there's like 7 people watching in Fightcade, that's way more nerve wracking than when I'm in front of a crowd at a Jazzy Valley. Because I don't know who they are.
Yeah.
Like it makes me so uncomfortable.
like you have no idea who's watching from where, what country.
Yeah. It's bizarre to me to just be that vulnerable. And then to drop a combo and know that they're just sitting there like, this fucking sucks. I knew this guy sucks.
Like they can sit there, watch your inputs, and say, "Ha, he fucked up this motion."
They're
You
going to
suck.
see my macros. That's
Yeah.
the problem.
Or they can see how hard Kang mashes.
True.
No mash at all.
I'm always curious to see who the hell's watching Ray and Lance at 10 a.m. on a Sunday
That's
Like
true. We only
playing-
have like 3 spectators. Like
playing fucking.
there
Ken,
must be something better to do.
Alex
Texas Brunch
fucking
over here.
Ken or something. Like, what is wrong with you people? Go do something with your life. You don't need to see
You-
this. Like,
Yeah, you would tune in. You'd be like, oh, you see like Lance, Alex versus Ray, Ken. And at that
Those are
point,
pretty
if I'm
Japanese
anyone else,
players.
I would just be exiting the
Yeah.
replay. Like, I'm not going to watch anymore. And they'll just sit there and watch for like 35 minutes.
Those are probably Japanese players too.
Yeah,
They're probably like,
probably.
watching you guys like, "Oh, we're Waxu Sugoi."
Sugoi. Wax Ken Sugoi.
oh man.
Yeah, that's funny.
I mean, we know we have the attention of the Japanese scene, right? Because like Deshiken posted on Twitter, he's like, "Oh, I've been watching this guy, What Up Neem, on Fightcade." I think he
Really?
Yeah, he said. Yeah, he posted.
No
that.
way.
Tweeted that. Yeah, it's true.
Oh wow,
Yep,
that's
yep.
crazy.
Very high praise.
Wow. Yeah,
Shouts
that
to
says something. Yeah.
Oh damn, Deshiko
Incredible.
played on Fightcade. Oh man.
Yeah, I think
The
I
old
think Denja's.
Kuroda videos. Remember when Kuroda was on GGPO and there were like YouTube videos of it?
Yeah, it was what was his name? Hoshino Aki?
Yes,
no.
that's exactly what it was. Damn.
It's
I
the name of a
remember-
Inku star,
He
I
just
think.
leans back and pulls. Ashinawaki? Like just pulled that out of his back pocket.
No, because you know what? I was like so fascinated about the Japanese players playing online at the time because
Yeah.
I was like we did at the time we were still like developing from like the Gamers Visions videos and like developing into the streams. So it's like when you hear about like Kuroda playing on GGPO or like Boss, like AAA plus
Yeah, ball.
plus,
Yep.
AAA plus plus, or like KO playing under number 77.
Oh, I didn't
Like
know that one.
yeah, and then I remember Nomoto played online too, and it's like yeah, so many different stories like that. But then you were actually able to save the replay when you watched it. When you spectated, you were able to record it and save
Mm.
that replay. So then you can watch it back over and over. But that's what some people did, and that's why there was like this replay of Boss playing against 4Y3 Paragon. Um and yeah, he and then there was that replay of Boss playing against Kuroda and he gets destroyed.
Wow.
I've never seen Boss get destroyed like that, but it's like it's like watching like Lance versus like Typhoon Tim,
I mean,
you
those. Yeah, he is the god.
Wow.
know. You know,
Typhoon Tim.
He is. Yeah, he is one of the greatest players to ever touch the game. So no shame.
but no, seriously, it was like the most like lopsided set I've ever seen
I'm
between
gonna
top
watch it
players.
after this.
Yeah, like you have Kuroda actually taunting Boss in the middle of the match and everything like
Yes.
that. Like it was crazy.
For a long time, the Kuroda set versus oh man, it was a Makoto player, but he was playing Ken in the set. It was Goki versus
Eno,
yes. I thought that
pop
was
quiz.
the great. I thought that was the single most impressive Third Strike set I'd ever seen. I don't know. I mean, it probably doesn't hold up in the same way if you watch modern sets, but that was so beautiful to me.
Yeah, there was like so much nuance to the way that they played. Like you can tell that they were playing to practice because they did they were red pairing specific situations, they were red pairing the end of supers. They were like really specific in terms of their pressure too. So it was like really and that was like the first introduction to like the recording of like Kuroda in the modern time. You know, it's
Mm.
like we all heard about the DVDs and those are like the legend, like the legendary scrolls. But then when
And
you
they weren't
had
even out, I think, at the time.
they weren't allowed to be posted.
Yeah.
They again, I think it was what was it Gamers? No, not
Game in Sakura. It was Game in Sakura, I
Game
think.
in Sakura. Yeah, they didn't allow anyone to post it. Um, so the only way you were able to get those DVDs is if you purchased them. And then yeah, when that footage came out of them two playing against each other, everyone was so hyped up about it. It's the first ever time that you could see Kuroda
Did you
play
ever
that.
watch the Kuroda Yang versus Show first of 10 from the Toy Boys?
I did. It was a little funky because
It
he
was
like
weird, right?
yeah, because he dropped like so many games. I think it was like 5-0 or something.
He was getting crushed, and then he brought it
Yeah, and then
back.
he just turned it around. I don't know what the hell he did. Like he just turned it around on just basic stuff. And I'm like, how the hell is he doing this? And then he ends up beating Show like I forgot the score, but yeah, it was ridiculous.
That's a question.
Tominaga.
Since we're kind of just meandering at this point, how do we feel about? So those were all 3 out of 5 rounds, which is not a commonly played format at all. Any thoughts on that? Like, how does that affect the game?
I've never really played it like for any serious amount of time.
I played it in Japan against who's the who's the Makoto player? I played it against the Makoto player in Japan, and it really changes the dynamic of the match. You know, normally we're expected to save our meter first and then use it if we have to, or conserve it for the second or third or second round. But then in this, you have the third round, and then it's like when you waste everything in the second round, you go into the third one, you're like, oh shit, I don't have anything, you know.
Hmm.
So it really changes the dynamic of the entire of the way that we play it, you know. So it's
It probably changed the tier list in some way. I think Chun would be strengthened by it.
yeah, and yeah, in some sense, yeah, and like the characters with the longer EXs, Yang, of course,
Hmm.
um, they kind of maintain their status, but yeah, I think overall it's just a really different mindset with it. So it really changes everything. For some reason, Kuroda always plays that. He
Hmm.
always plays that
He
format.
had huge streaks. I think the better player wins with with more rounds. I mean, I've played against a lot of very strong players and
Kochia,
stolen
yeah, there we go.
games. The idea of winning 3 rounds against a very strong player is super unrealistic for me. But I can win 2. I can definitely win 2.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Dan and Ray overlap here. Ray's
Um,
thinking the same thing. Yeah.
I remember that RKF.
I can
Oh,
win 2 out of 3 rounds.
I can win 2 out of 3 against anyone. That's fine. It's fine.
Anyone. But
Don't
3 out of
ask me to
5
play.
now.
Don't ask me to play him again. Like I'll take my one win
No.
and dip after that. But like,
That's
yeah,
quite
2 out of
a-
3, sure. Anyone. Why not?
Yep.
Shout outs to RKF for organizing that little exhibition between me and Kochia. Kochia was the name of the. He actually beat he was the one who beat Kokujin in Co-op Cup, I think to put him into the playoffs.
Oh, huh. Oh, that's something I know I don't know how we're doing on time or if anyone wants to leave. What's the experience of making it out of the first round
We're
of Co-op
allowed
Cup
to leave?
like?
I didn't know we were allowed to
Because
leave.
I've never done that, and neither has Kang. So yeah, tell us what it's like to not die in the first round of Co-op Cup.
Oh, to not die in the first round of Co-op Cup.
Yeah, what's the second round like?
The
I've
second
only
round is more.
imagined it.
So the first round is actually for foreigners at least. They, for some reason, I guess maybe I'm not sure if it's biased. Maybe RKF can sort of specify on it, but it seems like they sort of cater to the foreigners in that sense, where they put us into the weaker end of the group stages,
Sure.
and then at that point it's no holds bar in the second round. So for our team, the first time that we made it out of 2017, the group stage, I actually lost the first game. I played against a Q player, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to just warm up here and get all my matches in. And then I played this Q player, and for some reason, I just played so stiff. I played so stiff, and then I ended up losing to him. And then I was like, what the hell is that?
Mhm.
And then Mutant comes in and he saves the whole team, and
Yeah.
he wins. And then I'm just like, what the hell was that about? So then at the next point I was like, okay, let's just focus on the next match. So then yeah, it ended up being a lot easier because if you have a more balanced team, then the feeling is that okay, you can come out of it. You have to have confidence in your teammates. So for me at the time, I had plenty of confidence in making it out of the first round. It was like we didn't really celebrate it to the point where we were like, okay, we can do this thing. It was like, no, first round, that's it. Let's just take it one step at a time. Second stage was more grueling. Second stage, we played against. It wasn't Kodai's team. It was K-Kun's. K-Kun, Hugo-kun, Zabi, Koro, and or was it Koro? And one other player.
Vicious team right there.
Yeah, it was a tough team, and then I ended up beating 3 of them. I beat Zabi, Keikun, and I think I beat Koro too. And then that was the feeling. You guys know me when I play in tournament, really show, and I always tend to maintain my focus. But that was the first time that I ever really like felt that sort of passion to win,
Mhm.
and more severely than any other because it's in a foreign country. It's Co-op Cup, and we're one step away from making it to top 8.
Mhm.
And that's something that, we've never done before. So I really took that to heart, and when you guys watch the video, you'll actually see me react, and I'm like, let's fucking go, and like I never do that ever. But I had to. It was just like so much emotion built up inside me that I was just okay, let it go.
Yeah.
And then the next team that we had to play was against Decoy's team. And yeah, that team was I lost to Decoy, and then basically he kind of just took us apart at that point because we fought a little bit at the beginning, but then we kind of lost it to him because he played a lot like really solid the entire way. And then that was at that point, and then it was like okay, shit, we lost. But then of course the playoffs come around, and then everyone was like, okay, put me up for playoffs.
Mhm.
uh, the first match I believe was against Tominaga, and I don't know if you guys remember that team, but it was like Tominaga. Um, I think Boss was on there, a couple of other strong players, and I was like, okay, if I beat Tominaga, I eliminate this team.
Mhm.
I eliminate this entire team that we're talking, you know? So I had that in my head, and we traded the first round. We traded the first and second round. He won the first round, I won the second round. And then at that point I was like, okay, do not make any mistakes at all whatsoever because he had 2 bars. And you guys know what it's like with Tominaga with 2 bars. You do not make any mistake again.
Sure.
What do? I make a mistake.
I remember you.
I get him into the corner, and mind you, I'm pressuring him to the point where I feel like I can win if I get one more mix up. If I get one more mix up, I could have won that. Like that's what I felt. I get him into the corner, I grab him, and my whole intention was to do a dive kick as a cross up, but I delayed it.
Mhm.
I delayed it by like that like couple of pixels to the point where it was delayed so much that he forward parried and then he
Sure.
grabbed me. He command grabbed me, and mind you, he command grabs me when his back is towards the corner.
Yep.
That's game over.
Game.
I was like, shit. And you could hear Match in the background. He was like saying thank you.
Thank
I-
you.
Ah,
Yeah,
fuck.
he said like thank you, and at the end of it, I was like, damn, do that. And you really question your life choices when that happens. Like to lose like that, you really question your life choices. But it was really an experience to actually like let that out
Yeah.
and like to win in the second group stage, to know that you're one step away from making top 8 like that, or top 16. I'm sorry, because it's not top 8, right? Or is it? I forget what it was for Co-op Cup. It's been a while.
It's top 8.
Top 8, right?
Yeah. You were. I think you guys came within a game of top 8 2 years in a row, right? I think that's true.
Something like that, yeah. Because again in 2018 we had ECR on our, and the first round was, it was okay. We kind of like, went through it. It was normal. Um, they kind of put us against a much more stronger team, I guess, because we had Issei on our
Mhm.
team. But we went through that. That was when Matt had his big comeback. I don't know if you guys saw that highlight clip, but he had a huge comeback against this Yang player. Um, and then the next group, we played against who was it? I don't know if it was Reddy Buki. Um, I forget who it was. I'll have to take a look at it. But basically, it was like 2 Oros, one Elena, like the obscure characters. It was like 2 Oros, one Elena, one Ibuki,
That sounds
and
so
one
easy
Ken.
for Yang.
No, it wasn't. But then at that point, it got to the point where I think Gavin lost, and then we were trying to contemplate because I knew Frankie and Matt were not comfortable with that matchup, with any of those matchups. So then they turned to me and Issei, and then I look at Issei and I'm like, okay, so what do you feel? How do you feel about these matchups? And he's like, I don't really like these matchups
Mm.
because he didn't really like those obscure characters. He was more comfortable with like Chun, Yun, those mainstay characters. So I was like, okay, I'll take care of this. So then I take out the entire team. I take out both Oros and everything like that, and then at that point I go up to Issei and I'm like I took out all the bad characters for you. And he's like, thank you. And it was funny because at that point that was like my first like sort of like OCV type of feeling,
Mhm.
and it was really something that you can never take that away from yourself. It doesn't matter who it is. You're in the second group stage at Co-op Cup. Again, you're one win away from getting into top 8. And it's always that second team that you have to be really careful. You know, if you
Mhm.
have strong players on your team, you can fight back, but it's really difficult because the next team we had was Hirokuro, Hirokuro's team. And yeah, that was I think he won the tournament, right?
Yeah,
Hirokuro's
that
team
was
won
the
that
year
tournament?
they won, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, that's the experience you get, that was the experience. And what was it like for you guys with your match?
Okay. Yeah, I'll tell you my stories. I'll tell you the Kang year. That's the most entertaining one. So, so this is my fourth year, Kang's first year. Our team is me, Kang, Donka, Carson, and Carson's friend Daniel, the Elena player, D5.
D5.
And so I think the first we play two teams. So we play you Remy's team first, and I don't know who else was on that team because that's as far as we went. We just got OCV'd by you Remy. So that got off to a good start.
What?
Yeah. Oh, and so the best part is, all right. So, and I don't know why I didn't know this at the time. I go first. We're like, let's just send our Chun-Li first. Like, abuse matchups. Let's get a couple wins on the board. And so we send me first, and it was down to like the final round, and he's just throwing LOVs at me, and I have a super stock. I'm like, oh, this guy's an idiot. Like, doesn't.
I supers it, right?
Yeah, and so I
Yeah,
super.
even I know
Lance,
that. I'm a
I thought that
fucking
was
idiot.
I thought that was the second one.
Oh no, I think that was the first thing we played.
YouTube video.
But
That was the
didn't
first
I,
thing we played.
didn't I lose to say?
That's yeah.
Elena?
We're getting there, Kang. We'll get to your loss soon.
You just said you OCV'd.
No, yeah, no. So you Remy OCVs. That's one of the teams we play.
Oh.
That's the first team we play. We just play you Remy. That's it. We lose. So
Mhm.
off to a good start. And so then we have to play a team to survive, just to be 1-1.
Oh.
Yeah. And so we send me first again, and I do some work. Right, I beat C13 Makoto, Aruka Ryu. Not bad. My win versus Aruka was like garbage. It was like
Good job,
I
Lance.
enjoyed
it was like
Doesn't
one of
matter.
those matches where it's like Chun-Li got outplayed all of round 3. Then she lands a low forward super, does the jump light kick, low
You
forward
did-
super.
yes.
Oh, I
You
get
did
to
the
win.
same
Thank you for
thing.
playing.
The same thing versus Sherwin in the
Yeah,
Jazzy Finale.
very similar. Yeah, I've got a couple of
Very
wins under my
similar.
belt where I just
Your set play is very nice.
we call it. Yuki calls it the darkness, right? That's the
Yeah.
darkness of third strike. When round 3, Chun-Li, low forward super, jump light kick, low forward super. Thank you for playing. Okay, maybe next year. Then I lose to a Q player. Then Donka beats the Q player, and then beats who's the Oro player? What's the famous Oro player?
Donatos?
Inoue?
Who is it? Not Inoue.
Yeah.
Donatos?
Thanatos.
Like him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Donatos,
So and then
yeah.
Donka beats Thanatos. So at this point, we've lost only me, and so we have our whole lineup versus Say Elena, and I'm like, cool, we got 4 chances at Say Elena, and then I just watch all hope just slowly evaporate. Right? Donka loses to Say, okay, that's fine. We have Chun-Li, we have Carson. That's another Chun-Li. That's a good matchup. Carson loses. Okay, we have Daniel Elena Mir. Like, I don't know how that goes. Maybe we can do it. Just fucking do some EX overheads. I have a DSL connection in Alaska that you can work on. If you want to. That's a pretty good technique. Okay, Daniel loses. So it's all up to Kang.
and then we
And Kang had told
anchor.
us beforehand, I don't want to be anchor. Like, please don't make me anchor. And so we, of course, we made him anchor.
Why is that, King?
I just didn't feel like Deli Anchor was a good thing to do. Like I wasn't like in a good place to play, so we had just gotten there a couple days earlier, and it's like I don't know. It's tournament, right? It's not something I would be able to play well in regardless. So, but
Yeah,
Well,
I
that
just-
doesn't sum up your whole career.
yeah, I just wanted to just play however I play, and then also knowing that there's somebody behind me if I fuck up. But that wasn't the case, so.
That wasn't the case.
Yeah.
Yeah, you actually played somewhat competitive for Say, but then there was a pivotal moment where you just back throw him out of the corner.
Out of the corner, yeah.
Yeah, and then it's just over. And then we lost. So that was it. 0-2.
I was
Yeah.
watching that live, and the YouTube comments were brutal.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
about to.
really?
I was about
They
to
were really
mention
bad.
that. Yeah.
I was like, actually, because at the time, I don't think I had actually met Kang, but I think I had, known Lance. This was 2018.
Yeah.
Sounds right.
Mm,
Around
But I
then.
didn't know
End
you
of
guys
2018.
personally, but like you were Americans, and you were at that stage, and this fucking Elena is just the comments, the amount of like joy that was coming from other Americans. Like they're all big Say Elena fans. Like finally, Say was able to step up to the big show. Like it actually made me sick to see. I won't name names, but if you guys find that VOD, look at the comments. Respect the limbs. Respect the limbs. Everybody kept saying, that Kang wasn't respecting Elena's limbs.
That's a funny one.
Yeah, Kang's
Well-
the America's bad boy. Frankie said, like, oh, I think Kang is the villain of American Third Strike. People just wanted to watch you fail.
So how
They had a lot
brutal
of
is it
joy for a
though?
long time, but he won.
Like how brutal is it though to like I can't imagine like flying across the world to go to Japan to play. You get one game against fucking foreign territory, some Milena. You lose, and the entire country world thinks you suck because you lost one game of Third Strike. Like if you go back and read, like go read the comments on like when Kuroda OCV like the American team.
Yeah.
Like those comments are just like you guys are so fucking clueless. Like it's one like oh no, it's brutal. It's
At
brutal.
least, at least the other guys weren't recorded losing to a 12 player.
Mm.
There's a
You got
footage
his
of
fear.
me. Yeah, it was the first East versus West that I entered, and I ended up playing. I think it was Yama. I think it was Yama
So it was
12.
the 12 player, yeah.
That's
It was the
yeah
12 player, yeah.
yeah.
And I was confident in the matchup because I was like, okay, I played against 12s before. Obviously not of the same caliber. I'm aware of that, clearly. But I felt comfortable enough to the point where I was like, okay, let me do what I do. And I lose to him. And oh my god, I didn't have the heart to see the comments after that because I was just like, man, they're probably just gonna shit talk everything that happened and say, oh, Americans suck and all this
Mm.
stuff. So then I took that in the back of my mind, and that same year, we had the same character co-op cup, and we played Ken that time in 2017. And then lo and behold, we lose to the Yang team. We lose to Wantaren, Kodai's team. Like
Mm.
that team. We're all playing Ken. So we get put into like the second team that we had to play was the 12 team. So then I'm watching my teammates lose by the wayside. I saw Frankie lose, hold that, Mutant, Gavin. I saw them all lose. And I said, no way in hell are we losing to this 12. No way. No way we are not losing to this 12 team. So what did I do? I said, I'm like losing the first round, and I lose the first round. I forgot what 12 it was. But then at that point I said, fuck this. Fuck this character. Enough of this. I'm playing Ken. What
Yeah.
are we doing here? So then I was like, you know what? Let me just short. So I just short once. They got hit. I was like, okay, thank you. And then I just kept on going in and going in and going. Started pairing everything. I was like, okay, that's it. It's over. I carry short everything to my wits end, and then that was it. I beat the entire team, and I was like, thank you.
USA.
Yeah,
USA.
like
Fuck
I
12.
I
Fuck
reassured
12.
myself that we knew what the hell we were doing, and and tears do matter. So I was
That's
like,
right.
so I was like, you know what? It may be 12, and we may not be experienced with this character, but tears matter. So I settled that with that
I've
win.
never heard
So,
that. It's an amazing story. Ray, you
yeah,
bring up the classic Kuroda versus USA reverse OCV.
Mm.
There was a moment, Sherwin beats Daigo, and Sherwin has Kuroda down to no health.
Dead. Yeah.
You play that last scenario at 10 times, Sherwin wins it 9 times. Sherwin was like an inch away from being able to say, okay, so you're
I
at S
I
rank
beat
on
this
Strike
guy.
Kid, you're the Jazzy finale champion. I beat Daigo and Kuroda back to back in
Right.
Cooperation Cup. He would have floated into heaven as the ultimate American god. And yeah, that was a really difficult video to watch because
Yeah.
he just picks us apart. I mean, picks the best players in our country apart.
Well, I
He
think what
fucking
was it?
feels-
The Necro too. Is it Aaron? I think, or did I have the name wrong?
Yeah, Aaron.
Yeah, he had it too. Like so many
He had it
people
too.
had it. Like
Ryan
Kuroda
as
had
well.
some weird
Ryan,
punishers.
yeah.
Yeah, Ryan was close as well. Yeah, it's Kuroda. What are you gonna do? But
What are you gonna do?
um,
That's
anyway.
co-op cup for you guys. If you ever make the trip, that's some of the things you might be in for. So
Yeah, I think it's a good experience. I mean, obviously we went in with very different expectations, right? Like my first year going to Co-op Cup, I was pretty new. I wasn't expecting to do well, and I didn't do well. So mission accomplished. And that was pretty much my attitude each year. I was like, I'm not supposed to win, so it's fine. I'm kind of just here to be in Japan. Japan's really cool. I was churning credit cards at the time for like airline miles, so it wasn't costing me any money. So I'm just fucking, abusing this broken credit card system and flying to Japan once a year. But it's very different. So my feeling has always been like, okay, there's two teams in America, or if it's co-op, or it's like the American tournaments, like Jazzy, like there's going to be like the Nika Frankie team, and there's going to be like the Yi Ryan Yuki team, and those are like the two super teams, and those are guys that maybe they have like a shot, to really go far. You guys were like one player away from getting in the top 8 2 years in a row. They add Tender to the team, and they make top 8 for their first year that next year. For me, it was like it's not even an option on the table, right? I'm not there to. I'm just, hopefully we beat a team. That would be cool. So very different expectations. Yeah, I imagine there's more on the line for you guys. For me, it wasn't too stressful because I'm like, just happy to be here. Every year I lost to some low tier that I had never played in America. I'd lost to a Remy 2 different years. I lost to 2 Q players. I'd played Everdread.
Yeah.
What Q exists in America? I don't know. So yeah, that was pretty much my experience. Lance beat Shie first year. That did happen. Yeah, fluke of. Sometimes dumb luck and a great character will net you a win. That's pretty much what that was.
Yeah, getting the opportunity to play with KO, Sho, and Ushi and Yakun on that team. Oh my God,
Crazy.
that was an experience too. Like, I paid for the entire team too. Like, I couldn't let them like have me join the team and then like they all pay entry. So I ended up doing that for them, but just the experience of like watching them like next to them, there's like a far difference between like watching them on video compared to like seeing them in person as a teammate and seeing their thought process in the middle of a co-op cup out of all things.
Mhm.
And it's like you see the way that they focus in terms of, in certain situations, like what Yakun did to beat Nuki, and what Ushi did to beat MOV.
Yeah.
Like, that was like the highlight. I was like, what the
Yep.
hell? Like, they really had to bear down because these are like, how these guys do, like MOV and Nuki. You know how they play against Yun.
Yeah,
Like,
they're
they
incredible.
demolished Yuns. They
Yep. Yeah,
demolished Yun. So it was like one of those things where I'm just, that was a joy to watch, you know.
Yeah.
And
That
it's
was
a
an
nice
interesting
thing.
year because like you were on that Yun team, right? And I think Yuki was on the Makoto team.
Mhm.
And watching
And
you
then we
guys play
played
on
each other
those,
first round.
we
We
played
played
each
each other
other.
first round.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you guys play each other, and then one of the things I took away from it is like the very top tier of America. Like the Nikas, the Yukis, the Kangs, I guess. That tier of players. When I watch you guys play on these main free co-op teams, I don't think, oh, they don't belong. Oh, they stick out like a sore thumb. Like you guys look like you're one of the members of the team. You're getting wins against strong people. You are pulling your weight. Same thing with when Yuki got second at co-op that one year. Like he did some fucking work.
Yeah.
The very top
He
Americans, in
protected
my
KO
opinion.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. The very top Americans, in my opinion, could hang with like the vast majority of Japan. If you sent me up there, for the last few years, like, oh, we got Ghidorah, you got like Nuki, MOV, Rikimaru, Lance. You'd probably notice something's a little wrong. It'd probably, one of these things is not like the other. But you guys, I know you
Why
guys
is he
fit
playing
probably well.
Kiko's show? Why is he playing Kiko's show? I don't understand what's going on.
No, so one of the funniest things is that when you join a team like that, you kind of count your wins, and you kind of
Sure,
say,
yeah, of course,
like,
you have to.
so surprisingly, I had more wins than KO, and I was like, I took that to the bank. I was like, oh yeah, like you take that with you, but it was funny to say that you played better than the player that you sort of like idolized, all these years. So
My team tournament experience is similar to Lance's, but it's in America, where it's like I'm showing up and I'm hoping I can get a couple wins. I've really only been in a few team tournaments. It wasn't until Nika and I are Jazzy champions on the team side of things.
oh
I
yeah,
don't
that's
think
right, we
it's
won that one.
I love how you didn't even remember it.
No, because I thought you were gonna call me a Jazzy
You
champion.
remember the
I'm like,
Hashino
no,
Ake like that, and you're like, oh yeah, I am the national champion. But
for teams.
no, but it's funny because in our country, teams don't have the same weight, and it's probably because there's not that many players, and there's really just the 2 mega teams or maybe 3 mega teams. But being on that team, knowing I'm looking around the room and I'm like, no one's gonna beat this fucking team. Like, there's no way anyone's gonna beat us. And
Yeah.
having Issei in a blackout, I mean, Issei is
Issei was
drunk, face down. Like it was Weekend at Bernie's style, like putting him on the, Nika, you hold his wrist, I'll hold his fingers.
Yeah,
And it's
I'm
like, if you didn't know what character he was playing against, and he was still Issei, it was such a amazing experience. And then to have Tommy, who's not this was the New York team, and then
A
Tommy didn't have
traitor.
a team. Tommy didn't have a team, and he came up to me and he's like, can I be on your team?" And I brought it to the guys, and we want to win. So we brought Tommy on, and then Tommy killing Yi to win it for New York. Like, it was just the most chaotic
Yeah.
situation. But at the end of the day, I think we won $100, and we are
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, Tommy is
Yeah,
a traitor to Texas. He's not welcome here anymore. Texas does not accept Tommy anymore. He lives here. That's fine. He can go team with New York in the future. That's fine.
But what happens if I team with you guys?
That's fine. You are an
That's
honorary
fine.
Texan.
Oh,
You know,
oh, okay.
you have
You're
family
you're
in
the
Dallas.
Texas.
You are an honorary Dallas player.
They should ask you. I mean, you don't have to ask them. You're the Texas champion. You have the Texas jacket with the Lone Star. on
Oh,
the
that's
back.
true.
Oh, that's
He
true.
does. Yeah.
Nika is the Texas king.
Nika won both of the most recent Texas auto qualifiers, right? He won
Yeah,
the Lone Star Cup in Dallas. He won Houston.
Yeah.
yeah.
I guess he is the Texas champion. So who is
He
more
won
Texas than Nika KO?
He won the one at PR2. That was just a monthly too, right?
Yeah,
So
I
the-
beat Yuki in that
And
tournament.
that's the one
yeah.
where Deshaun and Typhoon Tim came
And
out
Typhoon
too.
Tim.
Yeah.
I don't
Shout
recall.
outs to the legend Typhoon
That's
Tim.
that's in the same part of my brain as Frosty Faustings versus Dan. So there's a couple of.
front and
No.
center, trying to wash it away.
At that it was the Jazzy 3. We did that team tournament at Free Play. I know Daisuke I think was drunk and he was like trolling and my team played his team. So like I get up to play and the round starts and like nobody moves. So I'm like, oh, button check or something, right? So I look around
That was like the rival schools thing.
Yeah, I look around the cabinet and Yuki's like, play, and I'm like,
No,
what?
I was yelling at you. I was
And I
like,
look
"Play."
back and he just hits me with the fucking fat jump in fierce step kick or whatever, and I'm like, what the
Oh
fuck?
my god!
And he's like, he's trolling you, just play. And I'm like, oh, okay, my bad.
Yeah, I remember yelling that at you. I was like, this is just what he does.
Yeah.
Like, fucking go hit him. Like, don't let go of the stick. Yeah, you got
I think-
bamboozled on that one.
It was talked about in one of the other episodes. We have every person who's ever been on the podcast here, so maybe we'll figure it out. But the idea of 3v3 rather than 5v5 making more sense for the United States, I strongly agree with that. I think it would make for a much more interesting tournament, and it would separate some of the super teams. You'd have 6 rather than 3, and it's SBO rather than Cooperation Cup. We're not big enough to do Cooperation Cup and make it real.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Or even
Yeah.
2v2s. I mean, we did 2v2s at Jazzy 2. You remember that, Lance? I
Oh,
don't
that
think
was like
we
the
were-
night before at UFO.
Yeah, it wasn't like an officially sanctioned thing, but it was an interesting and fun tournament, and it brought a really cool result because if I remember, didn't Holdat win that shit?
Hold that beats Ryan, right? In that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Holdat beats Ryan in grand finals, and it was like I don't know, it's just
Or was Ryan
So,
on
like, if that
Hold
was
that team? It's
all-
really hard to
No,
remember.
it would
I don't.
it was Ryan was on Holdat's
Issei was
team.
Okay, we're just
Issei
making up
was
history at
involved.
this point.
No, yeah, because Ryan was
Issei
on
was
Holdat's team because Mutant was supposed to team with Holdat. Because I remember I played Holdat's team and I was really fucking drunk at this time, and I beat Holdat, and I remember thinking like, oh, I got to play Mutant now, and then he picked Chun, and I was like, okay, maybe it's just like fucking around, like whatever. And I played the first round. I was like, damn, like Mutant's Chun is fucking sick. And someone's like, oh, that's Ryan, dude. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm fucked now. Like, I'm real
makes
fucked.
sense.
Like, I couldn't beat
Oh.
Mutant before, but like Ryan Chun, like, oh god. So
Even better.
If that tournament-
The story actually is that it was Issei and Collins versus Holdat and Ryan.
Yeah,
That's the teams. Okay,
And then Holdat beat Collins and Issei.
nice.
So
So if
Wow.
that was 5v5 and Colin and Issei had 3 other monsters behind them, this would have been washed away because
Sure.
2v2 makes it like I don't know, there's less fun in a 5v5 when we know it's going to be the best, it's going to be Los Vatos Locos versus some sort of New York team with the kind of Lance Exo team somewhere in the mix. Like that's not
Also
fun.
there.
So
Also,
I'm
not
all
pictured.
for
yeah,
I'm all for 3v3.
I think 2v2 has a lot more versatility in it. So that actually sounds nice.
I like 2v2 or 3v3, but double LM. I think that makes it.
Yeah,
fun.
I like double limb. I think we kind of went over this in that episode of like double limb allows that because in the first round in a single limb tournament, half the teams are gone, right? So you get excited about teams. Oh, I'm getting my team together. I got 5 guys, right? And then
You
in
do
one
got
round,
5
half the
guys,
teams
yeah.
are erased.
I got OCV'd by Kang and Jazzy won. We had a team called Any Given Sunday. We were like really like on any fucking day we can. And then Kang shows up and he's like, "Yeah, this ain't your day. Actually,
Today's not
all
Sunday.
you all lose badly." And I remember getting so mad because I'm like, "There's no way that this team should have been seeded this badly." It's like, and then I'm looking around and I'm watching D ranks versus D ranks going, and it's like, oh, I fucking Kang. And if we had beaten Kang, it was Lance behind him. Like that was a solid ass team.
Yeah, it's like Lance, Tran, Mommy. You guys were had
yeah,
no
it
chance.
was like if we had beaten
You were
Kang, it
doomed.
wasn't like smooth sailing. But Any Given Sunday was not that Sunday, unfortunately.
Yeah, not that Sunday.
The feeling of being on a team that's losing, I think everyone's had this experience when the first game goes and you lose, and everyone's like, "Yeah, come on, man, we're good, we're fine. Who's going? Oh god, send him up, send him up." And then this sinking feeling of like, we're fucked. We're down. You start to like do the matchup math, and you're like, we're fucked.
Like this doesn't add up.
We're gonna lose this badly. And then when people are like, "Okay, who goes next?" and it's like, I'll go.
Yeah.
Like
That is the worst feeling when it's like,
not
fuck
fun,
it, I'll go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And double limb's cool too because like okay, so something I always wished was at these tournaments there's usually like okay the 2 super teams. Then there's like another 3 or 4 teams that are like they're pretty good, right? They've got a good assortment of players. And I always am like, man, I wish I could play those teams, right? Like here's I'm gonna play one of those teams, and we're and then after that we'll play Ryan's team usually, and we lose, and that's it. I'm always like, oh, I wonder how I would have done versus like that Justin Wong Arlieth team. That would be fun. And you can do that in losers, right? You lose to Ryan's team, that's fine. Now those 4 leftover teams are all duking it out in losers. And so you get to see more exciting matches like that.
I guess it just takes so long.
That is the downside, right? And there's the less excitement. Like the cool thing about single limb is like there's the finality, right? Like, okay, the top 2 teams play, someone wins, that's it. That was exciting.
Also, nobody really seems to care. Like I remember Jazzy won the teams tournament was sick. Towards the end, grand finals, Ahmed versus Justin Wong was a build. There's all these amazing matchups, and then it was New York versus, and like I don't remember it being. I was right there watching. But I don't remember it being like this huge event the way that the singles tournament was. It's almost like it's this kind of like side thing. But team tournament creates amazing moments.
The nice thing too is that it has a crowd. Like it basically has a crowd attached to it regardless because you have your 4 other your 4 other teammates. So it's like you already have 8 people watching you. And
they're screaming too.
Yeah, and they're really and that attracts other people to come and watch it. They're like, what the hell is going on over there? And then you see like Justin versus Ahmed, and then like after that, the whole thing. So, that's why I enjoy team tournaments too. So
yeah, they're cool.
We ran 3v3 at that one free play right when all the Cali guys came down, Lance.
Yeah, that big one where like Ryan and friends all came.
Yeah, that was really fun. That was a good tournament. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought I had a good time there.
Was that the one Tenren was at?
Yep.
Yep.
That was a great tournament. I really enjoyed watching that. Mm-hmm. When Tommy had the run, right? Tommy
I think he beat Tenren, right?
Mm-hmm.
He beat Tenren, and he got all the way to grand finals versus Ryan. Ryan, he had beaten Yiki. He had Yiki. He had beaten Yi. He had beaten. To watch out for Yiki versus Bobo. That's. That was Tommy's super run.
That was the tournament where I learned a valuable lesson about brackets because I had I spent like a weekend I was like I made the perfect bracket, like every out of stater who's good plays a good out of stater at this round, right? And then in losers I've even engineered it so like people from the same team don't play each other. Like I have envisioned the perfect bracket where no one has to play anyone from their own region. There's like exciting matches the whole way through. And then just Rico just beats Tenren like in round 2, and I was like, oh, okay, and that just fucks the entire bracket. And that's what I learned. I don't, that doesn't work. You can't do that. You like no bracket goes exactly how you imagined it. Like, oh, I bet the favorite player wins every time, or maybe you have your own preconceptions about what a favorite player is, and you're just wrong. Yeah, and so that
Third
tournament was
Strike is
wacky.
somewhat unique. Like a lot, I'm on Twitter and I see Street Fighter Six, and one of the issues with it is it's not that stable. Like people beat people who are not as good as them all the time. If you look at a Third Strike bracket, you can kind of figure out what the hell's going to happen. Like this French tournament was surprising, but it wasn't like Cooney got knocked out early, or
Yeah.
like there's a stability to this game with the tier lists and just with the general kind of gaps in skill being very large. If you send the best players in America to a tournament, they're all going to be towards the end. There hasn't been like a Jazzy finale where it's like, oh my, maybe my run was probably the most like out of left field. I think Hold That's run just because of tiers, but for the most part, it's the best guys in grand finals.
I agree. Yeah, I agree with
Yeah.
that.
I don't think you get that in other games. I'm curious about like Super Turbo and like how much random. There's not that much randomness. There's certainly no randomness in the Third Strike first to 10 in my experience. Like it's just not that much. Maybe when you guys play a million of them.
I think eventually it gets to the point where we played each other so much too that we kind of know what to do against each other. Whenever I see like Frankie versus like a Chum player, it's like I kind of know that, you know, or like any other match that comes up, it's like we've seen this before, kind of.
Mhm.
So we kind of know what to expect. It's all a matter of who's really hot day, you
Yeah.
know. So, I think it's just a matter of that, and it's just hard to call it with these Jazzy formats too now. So makes it really enjoyable to watch. That's for sure.
I agree.
Back to
So-
single elimination. That's all we need. SBO. You have one character. When it gets knocked out, it's dead. It's kind of cool. If you win an SBO, that means that no one knocked your character out. Like they won the tournament. Because like if you look at the UFC used to do tournaments like where it was over the course of a night you'd fight 3 different guys. Like it's super dangerous, and I'm glad they don't do that anymore. But that guy who held the belt, no one knocked him out. And like there's something, there's this kind of suspension of reality when it's like, well, I lost and my guy got knocked out, and then he came back to life, and they knocked me out again, and then well, you had only knocked. There's something beautiful about just when you win SBO, no one beat you. Like no one, your character never died. It's obviously not the best format, but there's something nice about it.
Type.
Yeah, it'd be a great format for Ray. Any given Sunday.
Didn't work for me, but any given Sunday. It was a great name. I love that name.
Yeah.
We lost badly. It is a school night, Lance.
Yep, sure is. I got to work tomorrow. You guys want to wrap this up?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any last minute thoughts? What's the summary for this podcast? What did we discuss? New Jazzy format looks exciting.
Yeah, it looks exciting. I think it's good. It's gonna produce
Online.
a lot of good tournaments.
Happy it was announced.
Yeah, super happy. So it's gonna
Yeah.
be sick. Thank you to the Jazzy staff for doing this. I think it helps American Third Strike. It gives people a reason to like look forward and travel and go to other scenes. So shout out to Mutant, Katie, and all the other boys there at Jazzy for putting this thing on. Much appreciated.
Yeah, I liked
So-
what King said last episode about like rewarding the effort they put in. Something I want to like say is like even though we have bounced around all these ideas, we talk about like what do you prefer? Wouldn't you prefer 3v3, right? This is not like criticism directed at Jazzy. Like we really appreciate everything they do, and like I think
Without
showing up.
Jazzy, there's no scene in the true sense of the term. There's probably
Right.
pockets,
Yeah.
but there's no. We wouldn't be doing. I mean, we'd be doing a podcast, but Jazzy is the lifeblood and has been for 5
Yeah,
years.
for
And before
5
that,
years.
there was TFC, and there has been other things in the past, Evo for a long time. But if you look at the history of this game in America, when there wasn't a central unified tournament, it was just pockets of nomads, playing. I remember the first time I went to Next Level, the old Next Level. It was like in one of those dark ages, and it was Nika after I think your resurgence in New York had kind of faded away a little bit. And it was 2 guys, Green Tea, who's an unbelievable player that I wish everybody knew. Green Tea was playing against, what is his name? He was a Makoto Yang player who moved to Texas.
Damon.
Green Tea was
Yeah.
playing against Damon, and they were playing Super Strike, which was a
Yeah.
version of Third Strike with all the dip switches turned on. where every character, because you could do that on I think the PS2. Every
Yeah, that was
character
some
had
weird shit.
They had Ganasian style stuff, and I walked in ready to play Third Strike, and there was these two guys playing Super Strike, a total zombified version, and they were playing it with precision and skill, and they knew the frame data on this game that they had made. And I was like, "Hey, do you guys want to play like Third Strike?" And they were like,
real one.
they were like, "No, nobody plays that stupid game." So, like, that's probably what the scene would have become without Fightcade 2 and without Jazzy. This game is not radically different from VSAV or from a lot of these games that are great games, but just don't really have life to them in the same way that our scene does.
Yeah, our scene is. I mean, I feel like we're by far the biggest old fighting game, right? Like it's not even
Without
close.
question.
Even on Fightcade, like you look at the numbers, it's like we still have the most numbers always.
Yeah. So appreciate what we have. Show up to Jazz as you can. They put in a lot of hard work. You know, we definitely want to contribute however we can. You know, that's the goal. So
I think it would be fun after Frosty or something to do something like this again and look over, top 8 or something and just see, what are the storylines that come out, especially if Yuki's going. I'm hoping that these events actually draw the strong players and that we don't have, some of the issues that happened in the past where it was like only one strong player comes and wins the tournament. I'd love to see competition in the auto qualifiers.
I think the New York one would be interesting too. Like seeing how
I'm gonna try to make that one. I'm gonna try.
Yeah, because if it's not at next level this time, it's at Brooklyn Arcade, which is much more. They cater more to the retro scene, and they have more. I'm not gonna say appreciation, but it's like they have more of an understanding of what we need and what we go through. So they tend to go above and beyond for us. So it's it's not the biggest of places, but it's still one of the nicer places to play Third Strike in the country right now. So it's no Akihabara, obviously, but for what it is, it's perfect for what we need.
And I think it's the last auto qualifier.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So it's going to be the one where people are going to show up if they really want to get in and don't want to deal with that last chance bullshit. They're going to
they're going to
steal the New York one.
They're going to try to take it away from us, but I don't know.
Nika, you won a tournament at Next Level a while ago. Do you remember the 3-for-3 the tournament where it was like all 3 versions of Street Fighter 3?
Yeah, that was
the most stacked Next Level tournament that I ever played in. I'm hoping that it could be something on that level. There were so many good players there that night.
I don't think it was. I think it was more so. I think it was like a. It was a ranking battle. It was like a ranking tournament for Jazzy.
Yeah, it wasn't an auto qualifier, but it was just.
It was a ranking. So it was. I think it was the last ranking actually, because that was the one time where I decided I was like, okay, I'm gonna show up Jazzy. So I just decided to show up to the last Jazzy, even though the points that I got didn't mean anything. I just decided to just go there and just say, okay, I'm kind of back.
That was a cool tournament.
And it was nice. It was nice. But then I think now because you've never been to Brooklyn Arcade, so I think going to Brooklyn Arcade, you guys will definitely enjoy it. So the shop owner is nice. He's really really nice. He's helpful for all of us. So I definitely encourage everyone to go if that's your last chance. So
I encourage Nika to stay in New York this year. Leave Texas alone.
Who knows? We'll see. I mean, if it comes to the point where if I don't make any qualifier, then I'll have to defend New York. Anyone and everyone. So long live.
All right, guys. Well, we'll go ahead and wrap it up there. Thank you guys all for tuning in. Thank you for our guests for joining in, and tune in on Sunday for Big Nasty's episode. So
yeah, let us know if you guys like this. Just everyone just shooting the shit for 3 hours. Let us know what you think.
Yeah.
Subscribe, comment on the YouTube.
Yeah, I know, right? All right. Well, appreciate it, guys. Thanks,
Have a good night, guys.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks, guys.